hello there, Outlaw Nation, and welcome in to another episode of
We didn't
the
see you
Ultimate
there.
Schmoedown Aftershow. Exactly, we did not see you there. We were not expecting any of you to be here at all. It's just the four of us. Welcome in. It's Saturday night. You know where you are. You're hanging out so you can get the latest on the craziest 5 matches that we've had in the Schmoedown. And wow, this is what a crazy week it was, folks. There's only one place to be. It's right here. The 4 of us. Boggs, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, well, good, man. Like you said, awesome week. I felt, I just enjoyed every match. Can't wait to get into them with you. And, you know, what we learned as well, I'm still vibing off, lowest lane is the key. Colin, as they say, right? But no, it's been a great week and I can't wait to get into it.
Exactly. Lois is always the key. The key of the show is Soul. How is the key?
Oh, thank you. Man, this week, what a week. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2. We got Invincible. We got the Mighty Ducks back. And we got 5 matches to talk about tonight. Man, what riches we had this week.
So much is going down. Anime is coming out of control. The world is just spewing with content. If you thought like the year was so dry of content, the world was dry a year ago. Right now, I mean, it is the Atlantic Ocean. It is flowing. What else is flowing? Is the luscious locks on that beard of John Barr. How is John Barr?
There you go. Really curious to see how that one came together. Yes, that's right. If you're a big fan of content, then congratulations. The, I guess, evergreen boat that was the pandemic has finally moved enough so that the Suez Canal of capital C content could come roaring back at you. That's a topical reference, and that's mostly what I have to contribute to the show. So I'm very excited to sit here in silence and listen to the 3 of you talk about these great matches, along with perhaps 3 guests, maybe? Is that
3 guests
possible?
who have a lot to contribute, but what you folks out there can contribute are your StreamYards, your Streamlabs, and your YouTube chats. All that stuff, send them in. Send us questions. We love your questions. We love your contributions to the show. Get involved in the conversation today. You know where to find it. At the address right here above me. Come on. Quit playing around. Let's do it. Soul, you know what you do every week. You go down in that comment section and you take the garden weasel to the comment section and you find the nicest comments for us and you get them up for us. Come on. Tell us what we got.
All right, from Jeremy Miller, who comments every week. We love you here, Jeremy Miller. That was one of the most fun shows so far. Loving to see all the guests and unscheduled guests. Oh, wrong one.
That's right. Saul came back again last week.
Saul came back again last week, looking at the...
I mean, I'm just going to start coming up with comments right now.
Yeah,
John was looking especially less bald last week. What a treat.
Yes, less bald.
Very big fan of that.
Well, the first one is from Chris Taylor. He says, great show, guys. And I'm here for the TUSA versus Reddit feud. I'll throw it to John. Do you have anything else to throw a punch at the Reddit community?
No. I wound up looking at the Bachelor Reddit for research for a video I'm making. So that Reddit's cool. That Reddit I have no problem.
Reddit's cool.
Okay.
And now that I've gotten it correctly, I'm sorry, folks. We have Aisha Kenya, friend of the show, saying, great breakdown, guys. Every week gets better and better. We love you, Aisha. We love you. And then we have her saying also that Eric Zipper is so charming to listen to, loving his positive energy and upbeat attitude this season. Man, Eric Zipper was so great last week. And then we have Ranzat Saru, I apologize if I said your name incorrectly, goes, you all make a great panel. Have really enjoyed these past couple shows. Keep it up.
We are rolling, folks, and we love it. So make sure you get those questions in. We love your comments during the show, during the live chat, but please, after the video goes up, after it's over, go back in, let us know your favorite moments for the show, comment below, and maybe you can be featured next week in this section. We got a lot of matches to get through, folks. A lot. We got a bit of, we got the freshman 4. I don't know if I can legally call them the family 4. I'm just going on the freshman 4. We got VideoDrew making a return. We got the Powder Keg making his return to the singles division. And we got one of the craziest pay-per-views in a minute in terms of just overall star power, just stacking up against one another. So without further ado, let's get into the first match of the week. And let's get into it with our guest, none other than the great VideoDrew.
Hi guys.
Welcome to we've hung out before. We've done it, but not on now it feels like the mothership.
Yeah,
Well,
I think I came on once with Lon.
Yes.
So I was sort of like a little backup dancer to his Britney Spears main act, but I was here, just not in this current iteration formation.
Yeah, this is the we've changed the canon. So everything before this we've now been bought by Disney. And
Love it.
So anything that happened before didn't happen. So
Love it.
welcome
Let's
in
just
for the
start fresh,
first
guys.
time we've all never met.
Yes. Okay, clean slate. I get it.
Well, this has just been what a great week. John, I know you were super excited about this match, man.
Absolutely. Elliot Dewberry, I think he's a very funny individual just outside of the Schmoedown generally. I also think that his journey in the Schmoedown has been quite interesting to see after he crushed the dear almost husband-to-be Josh McCougar. But we also have to talk about the incredible performance of VideoDrew, who's been kind of, I guess, a stalwart of the dungeon, I think it's fair to say. Considering that last year, the dungeon had a little bit of a rockier season than you're having so far. But once again, VideoDrew, you're kind of one of the shining stars of the faction as a whole, last year being one of the few competitors that won him some dang points. But coming into this with kind of a all-new faction lineup with a couple of returning guests, including yourself, what were your nerves like going into this, just as far as kicking things off for a different-looking dungeon?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned what you like about Elliot Dewberry, and forgot to mention that you guys are apparently twin brothers. So that's weird. But no,
he's asked me not
nerves-
to talk. There's a lot of beef,
Gotcha.
Ever since he's gotten that suit, he stole it from my closet,
He thinks he's so much better than the rest of us. No, my nerves weren't too bad going into the match. I did have, without getting into too much detail, I did have a very upset tummy going into the match. So I was really worried afterwards when I was rewatching it that people were going to think that in round one, I was looking at my cell phone, because you can watch me like rummaging around a lot, like just going like rifling and stuff. I'm never doing it during the question. And I just want to like get in front of any of that, because I haven't seen anyone mention it. But like, just in case someone does, I am looking for like my anti-throw up medication, like in the beginning of this match. And then I take it, and then you don't see me touch my bag again for like the rest of the show.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't too bad, but I was like worried about the optics.
If I go onto that Schmoedown Reddit and I see anyone say a dang word about optics, I'm
Yeah.
gonna. Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. The optics of round one, from my perspective, was that it was a very good round one. Incredibly even keeled. I think a lot of us kind of knew that this match was gonna be neck and neck. Partly because you've been incredible, especially just kind of getting better and better with every match. And then also seeing how Elliot Dewberry, my dear twin brother, has improved with specifically KOrruption, which he also returned to. And you guys came out of that round one 6-6, both of you missing the exact same questions, which is
I
some
know.
like, weird synergy there. But yeah,
Look, maybe I should have been trying to marry I'm still saying McCougar. Maybe I should have been trying to marry Dewberry all along. I mean, yeah, I never took this match as like, I'm going to blow him out of the water. I think like when people do that thing where it's like, this is how you get that cred of overrated, right? It's like even the scores get skewed as like better than you might do because you have this one great match, but you have to take it in context of the match I had before Gen Kemp with Mark Reilly. And that match, it was also neck and neck, and then I just totally pooped the bed in round 3. So like it really was like I found myself comparable to like Mark Reilly level, and then was just very frustrated with how I pulled out that performance. The Gen Chem thing was like great, and like I think sometimes I don't give myself enough credit for like how great that match was, but it still is like the anomaly and not the rule. And so I see myself as like getting better in like relation to the Mark Reilly match, and then the Dewberry match is like better than I did on Reilly because I was able to pull those threes out. But if you watch it, it's like almost the same exact scoring for the match as it was for Reilly until that.
Wow, that's very interesting. I got to check that. That's very cool that you just kind of like keep track of all that stats as well, because that's definitely a very useful way to, again, just kind of like, I would definitely agree you should give yourself more credit for that great Gen Kemp performance, but also I think it's fair to kind of be like, let's make sure that the ego stays in check. We don't want to get too big-headed, because that's how you wind up maybe fluffing yourself up a little bit too much.
Don't want to fluff.
The last thing you want is fluff. Boggs, the least fluffy of us all, I guess, is the segue I'm using. What were your thoughts coming out of round one as far as seeing these two go just back and forth?
Yeah, so I was more interested in VideoDrew because, coming off that perfect game, we all, I'm not just saying it because you're here, we all favorited you to win the match because, you're doing the progression thing. You're in a kind of, in the dungeon, which is a top faction. They've got top players. You've spoken many times. You told us last time about you're trying to improve each match, improve your worth in this game. So I just love that attitude, and I thought that was reflected really in round one. Obviously, he has shown in the past that he's also a good player. So yeah, I just thought it was an even match, and I just thought, so on them questions, getting 6, were you expecting to do more, or were you just kind of going with the flow? And
I was kind of hoping for 2 more. I was kind of hoping for 2 more. I will say that, had I not been in this sort of like if you can go back and watch, I'm sort of panically going through my bag, and that's because I'm afraid I'm going to throw up on air at that moment. And I think I could have gotten Elizabeth Banks had I not been in that sort of state for the second question. And I'm able to calm down. I would never have. Oh, sweetie, shut up! Shut the fuck up! Sorry. I
didn't say anything.
I didn't know if I would have ever. I don't think I would have ever been able to pull Black Dynamite because I hadn't seen it yet. And I didn't know that it existed. And that's unfortunate that that's the one question I don't think I could have gotten. But it's something I'm really actively working on is Black cinema. So I always would have missed that any day of the week. But I probably could have gotten Elizabeth Banks had I not been there. So that's a little bit frustrating. I always like to see if I can go with perfect and get that bonus round. But what made it special about that time with Jen Kemp is no one saw it coming, and I'd made that little bet with myself that and with a couple other people that if I managed to get all 9 in the first round, then I would 8 in the bonus question, then I would raise this much money for Kevin Smets. And so it was a really special thing, and it felt like I had some hex magic or whatever the opposite of that is on my side for that specific game, and you can't use that every game or else it doesn't work or else it's not magic.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess the opposite of hex magic is Catherine Hahn. I didn't take enough notes.
That's probably true.
Fair. But yeah, then we get into round 2. Hey, this was a decade that popped up in WandaVision, the 90s. 90s, a lovely time. Silly bands, Pokemon, other things probably.
Super Soakers, Legends of the Hidden Temple, yo-yos.
Right.
Most of the people on this screen were released in that decade, so
I like that bit. I like that bit when Oyama did it.
Yeah, I'm now taking it. I'm taking it for it's the best thing ever. I'm just mad I didn't think of it before.
Well, Colin, how about you take a little bit of this discussion first, coming into this round 2 with the 90s. Drew, you only missed one question, which I feel like is not necessarily reflected in the number of points, but Colin, these were some tough questions.
Yeah, it was definitely not it was not the 90s that everyone knows. These were oh yeah, I watched the Addams Family. Well, do you know who directed it? Well, okay, don't get mad at me or anything. Okay,
yeah.
Most of those questions were kind of whoa there. But it was good. Pull right through it. And in terms of how the whole game worked out, it wasn't there were nothing felt like a huge momentum swing, and I think that's that's the main thing I took out of round 2 was that even though Dewberry, kind of bridged the gap to 2 and Drew didn't kind of take it as far as she could have, the momentum did not go totally one way, even though that's what the points would tell you. It just wasn't what I was feeling. I still felt like Drew was in complete control the whole time.
Well, luckily, I mean that it's annoying because I know Deep Impact. I've seen Deep Impact. I love Deep Impact. Now I don't know. I have a third thing for it. I know Deep Impact and I saw it in one of his theaters. I just remember that movie being about meteors and not comets. And so that's why I'm asking comets. And they're right. It is comets. I just thought comets couldn't strike the Earth. For some reason I thought once they get into the gravitational pull of Earth, they become meteors. I don't know. My head was in a different place for it. And I've never seen Armageddon, that's on me. That's a big one that I haven't seen. So for some reason, I thought Armageddon was about two of them because they have two teams in Armageddon. I know that much about it. There are two teams. So I thought maybe there's 2 comets in that movie. And so that's annoying because you're like that's a bad way to go out. And like obviously too, it's not great to go out on a look where the opponent who asks if he can get multiple choice on your pickup like manages to get the answer. Like, because you're like, ugh, like that's a little wet fart of a round 2 ending. But other than that, yeah, I think I like navigated that pretty well. You know, Kaiser said that there was a lot on the board he didn't want for me, like wheel that he didn't want for me, and I think that's him like trying to play it a certain way. I think at the end of the day, we always wanted to take 90s off the board for Elliott, and like so, like that was actually like not like a Drew, you're getting stuck with this so much as like that was actually part of our thought process was if we hit 90s, I know 90s well enough to take it away from Elliott, and there goes his biggest strength. And we saw that actually worked out perfectly because he might have had, you know, he gets spinner's choice and he might have wanted Paul Thomas Anderson. That might have been his second wheel choice that he put on the board, but he obviously didn't know it the way that he is comfortable around 90s. So that was actually part of our technique.
And to be honest, like, again, obviously the 4 out of 10 possible points is not your favorite to look at if you're only looking at numbers. But then you take that mindset and then you go into looking at what Elliott was able to do in his round 2 with that kind of knowledge. And suddenly, yeah, that strategy seems to have paid off pretty handsomely. Because, go for it. I mean, just kind of talking about that Paul Thomas Anderson where he missed 2 questions and you were able to get some steal points right back off him.
Yeah, immediately. And the thing is, you know, because Paul Thomas Anderson is a director and it's very narrow and, you know, you don't know what he knows. Like, you don't know what his thing is. Maybe he didn't put 90s on the board. I can never say that he definitively put 90s on the board. I know he put, if you get spinner's choice and you pick something, I'm assuming you put that on the board as your second slice. I can't say for sure that he did. I'm just working off like what I'm assuming about him. Right? So like you get spinner's choice, that's a lot of pressure. Like, I never want to get spinner's choice. That's like my biggest fear actually is getting spinner's choice. Because if you get spinner's choice, you have to deliver on getting every single question right, or else you look like well, you got your pick of anything in the world and you pick something that you were going to fail on. And it sucks. And then when you come out of the gate after getting those 2 big points, right? And like your immediate thing is to answer a little too quickly and to say the wrong person. Like, he's right that it's almost like the Deep Impact Armageddon thing, which is like, it's almost like a 50-50 coin flip about which character that was going to be. If you taken like a half more second though, you like if you're like Elliot and me and you're of this time frame, you remember Boogie Nights pretty well, and like you know that Amber Waves is a character clue of somebody who has red hair, and that Heather Graham was very famously like the roller girl, and that was her character's name, and that was so I feel like if he'd taken half a second longer, I wouldn't have gotten that 2-second steal, and that game would have gone totally differently. But you know, we were in the momentum. You know, neither of us, we kind of played like rookies. Like neither of us used our repeats like at all during the entire game. And I think that's because during my Reilly game, I kind of like messed up during my repeats. Like you don't see it on camera, but like I had sort of an issue with using all of my repeats and then asking for another one when I didn't have it. So like I think this one I kind of played it a little too close and didn't ask for any of them. So it's still kind of like learning as I go. But yeah, I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson's a hard one because he's only done so many movies, but 3 out of those 4 questions involved character names, which like I thought was really interesting. Like it was like name the movie from the characters that are named this, which like 2 of the questions were name this movie from the characters, and then one of them was the Amber Waves question, and then the 4th one was a really, really, really deep cut, like incredibly deep cut thing about Inherent Vice, which was like I don't even remember Owen Wilson being in Inherent Vice, and I've seen that movie. And like, yeah,
sure plays the shit out of that saxophone though.
Yeah,
I guess.
Flute. I don't know.
Who knows?
He played something.
The recorder, maybe, John?
Mm-hmm. Might have been the xylophone.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I'd used repeats on that as well, I think both of us probably walked out of that match being like a little frustrated that we didn't like think about it longer, take a breath, like, you know, we were just kind of like in this anxious like mode because we kept trying to draw away from like one another, like we kept trying to take the advantage, and then that one moment where he thinks he has, and then I steal it right back on spinner's choice. It's kind of like a, you know, I imagine that can be kind of deflating.
I mean, it's interesting, certainly from like that kind of like larger picture, like strategy wise, maybe. But on the other hand, I think the fact that it did ultimately kind of boil down to just like knowledge was also kind of cool in its own right, because it was just kind of a little bit more of a straightforward match, and it really highlighted just how both of you know a lot and are just very like well evenly matched. So in some regards, I think it actually made for a more interesting match. So if that's a helpful takeaway, that I hope that it is.
if they let you do in round 3 what you do in round 2, it might have gone differently. Like if you're allowed to pick first versus like, you know, like if you have to answer your 2 or 3, I don't know why this would ever come up. It probably never would have, but like it really was, it came down to me not having to answer a 5 and him having to. Like, and that's by virtue of me being ahead 1 point, like going into round 3.
Well, it was an intense round 3 as well. I mean, like all of those kind of questions, those are all definitely ones where it's like, you know, you could argue like some of them, they're the ones that are kind of against sort of that quick recall. But then there are some of those where you do have to kind of like take a second and think about it, because I could definitely, there was on the clue one, like I did kind of, I don't know if you felt this way, Soul, but like that was one where I kind of had to go like, oh, the first name that I think was Michael McKean. But then I had to be like, oh, that's fully wrong.
Mr. Green. Yeah, that's Mr. Green. That's just one of my favorite movies of all time. So that was like a really cool question to get. I mean, round 3 has historically been for me like really, really wonky. Like again, because like I'm just always like pressured because of that Reilly match where I just blew my lead with that 2, 3, and 5 after he answered his 2. So like, you know, it sucked. And like you never want to get those things where it's like it's supposed to be the 2-point question. Like why is it so hard? And I honestly felt like Dewberry's 2-pointer was really hard. Like Samuel L. Jackson and being in Goodfellas, like I had no memory of that ever happening. I thought his like 2 and 3 could have been swapped because his 3 was like who plays the bad guy in Blade Runner 2049, and it's like, well, that's everyone knows that it's like the worst Joker. But you know, I guess it all comes down to subjective knowledge. Like it's always surprising to me to like to see what people don't know and to be like, oh, like that seems easy to me, but then like other stuff that seems very, very difficult to me, people get right off the bat. So what do I know? Except I know who plays Mr. Professor Plum in Clue.
That I do
know. And the Scarecrow and Wiz, of course.
Yeah.
And you sung your answers too, which I love that exchange between you and Mark Ellis of going, you don't have to sing your answer. You're like, can I?
Yeah.
And then just continuing that bit. And I love all the character moments that were in this match, which is
it was so good.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I'm not gonna like again, like I'm not like one of these people who like goes back and I'm like, I did great. No comment, like no more notes on this. Great. But like I will say that like I think that's like probably the best performance, like not gameplay, but like best performance I've done like ever. So like I'm starting to get in the groove of these digital matches because I don't know, like some people talk about how it works for them or it doesn't work for them or whatever. I'm starting to think that like maybe it does work for me. I really thrive off the attention and the live audience, but I think also like the way that the digital matches kind of makes me like sit back and like wait for my moment to say something and then come up with like the comment on the spot, as opposed to just sort of, I don't know, this more like kind of loosey-goosey thing. I've almost forgotten what it's like to be in studio at this point, but I really do enjoy these digital things.
Yeah, I've completely forgotten the outdoors. But yeah, so I mean, it is kind of interesting that you bring up that character stuff because I mean, we've long talked about how VideoDrew is kind of the perfect combination of a wonderful like kind of character, but then also someone good at the game. And I feel like it was also just a very interesting matchup compared to my dear brother Elliot Dewberry, whose whole character right now is taking the game extraordinarily seriously, which I feel like just kind of made for a very funny kind of like clash of personalities as well. So like, since you were just commenting on how wonderful Drew was, like kind of how much do you feel like that was highlighted by also then the character work on the other side, kind of bringing the whole match together?
I mean, like, it was really perfect. It was, like, really symbiotic. Like, it's just one of those things where it's, like, in so much harmony that you want to, like, afterwards, you just want to be like, man, like, that was, like, a perfect, like, thank you for not putting me over, but, like, thank you for, like, working with me on this. Because, like, his character's dark, my character's dark. That could have been, like, an awkward thing where, like, neither of us want to give way. Like, I had this character beat that I wanted to do about the Makuga wedding. And obviously, he knew about that beforehand because that's the tags and my promo and everything. But, like, he could have, you know, I've gone against competitors before that just want to like, you know, play it really straight and sort of like ignore me or sort of come at me in a certain way. I remember when I first played the Loose Cannons and it was like, you know, Kaiser came at me pretty hard, like in the middle of the match or, you know, and that's my own manager, but it threw me off for the game. But I think, you know, and obviously every competitor comes in with a different vibe that they're going to bring about VideoDrew, but I never take it personally because it's the nice thing about having a character. It's like, you never have to assume that it's about you. It's like what they're saying about this weird character they're coming across. But like Dewberry's thing with me, I don't know. I thought like the energy, the way we're both sort of like this weird, you know, Addams Family kind of look and vibe. It was like this weird goth Beetlejuice sort of match. And I thought it was really well. Hey, thanks, Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
Going off of that as well, it's the part where he's just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna ghost her." It goes, "Oh, you think I'm afraid of ghosts?" Like,
Yeah,
I love that.
I love ghosts.
Yeah,
Love ghosts. I'd forgotten. Like you go into this. I mean, probably not everybody. Probably just me. But I go into a weird like trance during a match. Like it's happened. I noticed that the first time I went and played against Brendan Meyer was like, and that's why I sort of got addicted to the Schmoedown. Was like I don't remember one thing that happened between coming out on stage to a bunch of people like kind of booing me because I was like the new. Like in studio, I was like the bad guy. He was the good guy. And I came out and I just remember thinking, wow, I love this feeling. Like I'm not an actress. I'm not a comedian. I don't get on stage. Like I'm not a performer. And I just came out to all these boos and I remember thinking, wow, I love how this feels. Like this feels great. And then like the next thing I know, the game's over and I'm going home. Like I have like no memory of what I did during the match, what I said, how I performed. That was all of like the first year. Like I would go on stage and like go and snap into some state and like not remember afterwards like how I performed or like the jokes I made, and it would always surprise me. And that's still very, very true. Like I will go into these matches, go into a way, like I will, get tucked in or whatever, and then won't remember like anything. And then watching the matches will be like, oh, like I get to evaluate my performance, not thinking what I was thinking at the time, but going like, what is she doing? Like, what is she going to say next? And whenever I say whatever I say back to the screen, like the joke that's about to come out of my mouth, I'm always really impressed because that means that like my sense of humor matches the sense of humor of the person who is playing the game. And so when I was watching it, I kept cracking up during this match because she was like a little bit ahead of me. She was like a little bit funnier than like I am. And I was impressed by that.
Aw. You heard it here first. VideoDrew versus Elliott Dewberry, truly the Beetlejuice stage musical of the Schmoedown.
Oh my God, thank you so much. That's such a compliment. I saw that musical. That was great.
I wish I could have seen it. But one thing we're seeing right now, Colin, is some real domination by the dungeon. Just kind of very interesting to see kind of the 180, due in part to the fact that it's now more people like VideoDrew who are really able to put up some points on the board. How excited have you been just kind of watching this rise of the dungeon?
Well, John, first I'm going to tell you something that's not been fun. It's been watching my picks this week, aside from VideoDrew. I picked VideoDrew, and she was right. And I thought I was being smart by swerving against the grain this week, and I was not. I was down. But a smart move is every move so far made by one John Kaiser Roll. And he is on said roll. He is the role of Kaiser. And we are currently seeing one of the best turnarounds in any sport or anything I've witnessed in the last couple of years. Because this is a team that is not... That last year, why are we talking about the dungeon? Because Drew coming on last year at the end and having an amazing end of the year. Every match you played, bringing reason to have the dungeon brought up. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot. And now this year, we can't help but keep their names in our mouths.
Much like Brett.
Our names in your mouth is what we like to say in the dungeon. Yeah, look, I think there wasn't a question at the end of that, but I'm going to just pick up there. Like last year, I really like to compare us to like Animal House, with what happened, what was going on with Kevin and sort of our early losses. I just kind of was really digging my heels into the dungeon because it really did feel like we were like the party house. Like we were like the house that wasn't taking the game that seriously, but we were all really there for each other behind the scenes. And we were really, we kind of were there to pick each other up. And Robert Parker, didn't go as far as everyone was expecting him to. So he kind of disappeared mid-season, but he didn't disappear from my life. We were still doing talking to each other and going on these Zoom calls once in a while with the dungeon. And it really felt like it was a place for your misfits and for your weirdos. And it never was really my priority before this season to concern myself with belts or factions or who was going to win. I mean, I cared about the faction as much as I cared about the people that are my friends and that I like to be around and who has the most heart. And for that reason, I really wanted to stay on the dungeon. I didn't really have another place I wanted to go to because I'm not concerned with I need to be on the best faction. So when it was called that Dan and Ben were coming over to the dungeon, I was a little bit oh no, that's really going to change the dynamic. Now we're going to have to be this faction that is really intense on winning and we have to be really focused on that. And I'm not sure if that's the right place for me because I'm more of a good times gal. But then immediately with having Ben and Dan there, it's sort of it sort of fixed a lot of things. Like suddenly we were like a lot more focused, and like it wasn't a way that like I'm very serious about studying. I have like 2 Patreon study sessions a week in addition to a lot of other study groups that I do. And so that's something that I've just been formulating around myself. And like the dungeon people were always welcome to come and join. But I don't think it was until this season that like people in the dungeon started like, you know, if you want to be part of this faction, you got to be involved with the study sessions, and like you got to be taking it seriously. And I've been really impressed and like a little bit humbled with how much time Ben and Dan are like willing to spend. And then also like Parker with the Star Wars people and Mara, and like all these people are willing to spend like just hanging out, essentially like in like, you know, it's just like what we do for fun. Like it's also just like how we hang out with our friends, but they're willing to dedicate all this time to essentially making everyone in the dungeon their friend because they spend hours with them every week. So that's really been impressive to me, and I'm really I sort of bow down to their superiority in terms of gameplay and knowledge. Like I'm constantly going to Ben and Dan with strategy questions and like focusing and honing on wheel slices. I think the first time we all met together as a group, like Ben took the reins for like 2.5 hours and just walked us down like each individual slice's pros and cons. And it was, you know, somebody who coming in not like the biggest like, oh, like Action Army guys, super fan. I just don't have that history with them. Like I don't have that. I didn't come into this game knowing anything about them or, you know, or having that fandom behind me or like being part of that fandom. That I really have been really impressed with like what Ben has brought to the table. Like incredibly impressed.
Just as long as he's also bowing down to you as one of the people who shows how to win points for the dungeon. That's most important.
I mean, I will say that like before his match yesterday, we were texting for like good 2 hours on like certain slices that like he knew what the wheel was going to look like because they get it a little bit beforehand on these big event stuff. And like we were going through each slice, and he was like, I was helping him out like on questions. So yeah, we're there for each other. Like you know, he's all business, but like I'm impressed with that business friendship. That's always been an impressive thing for me. People that can do business friendships, not be like emotional about it, but then also like be there for each other.
Yeah, we love to see it. And another thing that we love to see is the messages that our producers are sending to me saying, let's also talk about the next match, which VideoDrew, you've been very gracious to also stick around and talk with us a little bit about. And Bugs, I'm going to bounce it on over to you to talk about the former faction of Ben Bateman, the Finstock Exchange, and their newest person who is a little less of a friendly business kind of guy, and maybe a little bit more of an oddball, and also your friend. Don't tell him I called him an oddball. I don't know how he feels about that.
You can tell him that. He won't care.
I don't know.
We should probably do our stream labs too, because we got one from Drunken Prayer saying,
we did?
Yeah, if Shannon is the queen of corruption, is Drew the Duchess of the Dungeon, which we saw Kaiser calling you the Duchess.
I think I really liked what he did with Era with that beat, because last year it was like I was the queen of the dungeon, but this year we have more than one woman in the dungeon. Like, and with Mara being our first round pick in the free agency, and Molly coming in there and help shoring up Star Wars for us. Like, I told Kaiser pretty early on, I think I said on a stream or something, I was like, I don't think I can be the queen anymore when we've got these two amazing women, and I'm happy to that title doesn't belong to me now that I'm not the only one. So let's come up with another name. So I thought that was really cool that he managed to put that in the promo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he calls you the Duchess because I think you're his favorite, really. Because
thank
you're super witty, you're super funny, you're improving all the time. So there's lots of, I think, the reasons why he's your favorite. So
I mean, I didn't know we had a fiefdom, but that works for me. Fine, I can be the magistrate of the dungeon. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, we'll go to the next match. So as John said, there's the Finstock Exchange rolling up, making his debut. Well, both making their debut was Rick the Rager Raddus and Chrissy V. So firstly, I want to speak about the promo, and I'm going to pass it to Sol as a resident swag DJ in the house. She's obviously, we've got Chandru and Laura here trying to recruit Lon. Seemingly didn't work out, and Lon's being confused by the situation. So, what do you think, kind of the overall players here for Chandru and Chandru really, because Laura's a bit in between, isn't she, Sol? So, what are your thoughts on that first promo scene?
From the beginning, I was telling you guys that I didn't like Chandru and Laura going against Winston, and I was kind of excited, but also fearful to see who's going to join them against Winston. And each time we saw Ace is on Winston's side, you see Eric Zipper being on Winston's side, you see Vinny the Ice Pick Mancuso staying on Winston's side. And now we have Lon Harris staying on Winston's side, and he's kind of doing an amalgamation of both of his characters. He's being both the professor and the delinquent at the same time, and it's hilarious. Lon does such great character work, and he makes me laugh every time he's on screen. And just the fact, too, that we also got his brother coming up and saying, oh, we have a group of professors in what is called SWOG. And I think I laughed, too. I had to pause the video and, like, laugh for, like, 10 minutes. Because that part, just anytime that Lon and John are on screen together, I'm just laughing, like, my ass off. So I loved this kind of thing. And I love, too, that everyone is staying more on Winston's side. So that's what needs to happen.
I love the mama and papa, like, and papa John. Like, that did it for me.
Yes, that was great. But yeah, going into the match, of course. So shout out to, I believe, Chris Taylor in the chat there. He mentioned Rick Radisson. You know, for me, as John said, you know, obviously me and Colin know Rick Raddus. And, you know, this was like, what a debut for someone who is completely new to his you know, because you know, me and Colin playing the same fan leagues as him, and you know, these guys have. I'm not sure about other fan leagues. You know, I haven't seen too many, but these guys, we know these guys have their own character work. They do their own storylines. They cut their own promos. They do their own cutscenes. This was 9 months ago they were doing this stuff. So me seeing this come to fruition, I was like, and then Christian introducing him, you know, the Rager, and then seeing the Finstock lights and hearing like his own theme music. I had like goosebumps watching it almost. So yeah, man, seeing the actual kind of electricity that he's bringing. So this is, you know, for all the debutants making the, you know, all the rookies coming in, all the fan leaguers, you need to watch this guy because this is how you entertain. Had him laughing throughout. I thought it was a superb debut. And you know, he can play as well. So obviously the dossier came through good, but yeah, like obviously all you suckers ready to rage and all that. I loved all that stuff, but yeah, so you know, he's a long promo. He absolutely killed that, I thought. Yeah, so I'm very happy for the guy, and yeah, shout out to Triple R as well. So I thought it was all great. But yeah, going into the first round, obviously, you know, not the best ever first round I've ever seen in my life.
Eric. Great pick.
Oh yeah, love that. I watched it back like 4 times. I thought, oh man, this music is just because you know, I keep saying he's mine and Colin's friend. Never mentioned he had his own theme music, so that was like a complete random thing that we saw. So that was so much fun. Man.
I'm not sure if he knew. I'm not sure if he knew he had his own theme. I didn't know I had my own theme. Not to bring it back to me, but I didn't know I had my own theme music until I watched the episode, and I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. And shout out to David B for making an awesome theme. But yeah, I didn't know that. So he might not have known that he was going to get music, but it was great. Rick
Eric
is somebody that
I don't think he knew.
Yeah, I don't think so. But Rick is somebody who I only met because I did one of his shows. But like I did like an episode of his podcast,
the horror thing, yeah.
And it was a great episode. And he got the director, this Turkish director of a movie called Baskin that like. Literally, it's just like this most random thing. He got like the director to like notice, like Senpai noticed me, like and notice the podcast, and then start posting about our YouTube review of it, which was awesome. So like I came in a little bit like pro Rick. I didn't know that much about his character work, nor do I know much about WWE or like any of the character stuff or like kayfabe there. But like I really liked what he was doing. Like it was very clear. Like you don't need to know how WWE or any of that stuff works to understand like he's doing a character and that it's like this guy and it's this kind of thing that he's doing, and I like that. I like when you don't need that much like information about how some other thing besides Schmoedown works to understand the character that somebody's doing.
Yeah, and I felt that as well. Like you don't need to know wrestling, you don't need to know the Schmoedown. So you could show someone this match and think this is great, this is hilarious, it's pure entertainment. And yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, shout out to Peggy as well, backing up a fan league kind of sister there. But yeah, no, I thought they both were a little bit nervous in round one. You know, missing a few, especially the first one is a bit of a trick question, so it kind of throws you off immediately.
What was it again?
It was who was Oscar nominated for Raging Bull, I think Goodfellas, and
Joe Pesci was the
one more.
Yeah, Joe Pesci, yeah.
And
I remember that. I remember that one because like that was very famously Joe Pesci got the nomination in Goodfellas. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they obviously had not De Niro, Robert De Niro. That's also the answer.
Yeah,
tricky one. Well, yeah, Colin, what are your overall thoughts of round one? You know, and kind of you know, Rick Raddus' debut and how Chrissy played as well.
I mean, this felt like kind of throwback Schmoedown style. Just felt like two rookies. You know, it didn't feel like we had somebody coming in and you know trying to like blaze a trail onto, like a championship path. This just felt like two folks who belong in the game and had a fair spat. We just gotta take a second. Rick is a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I gotta be completely fair and transparent. I was in the StreamYard room when he cut his promo to join the Schmoedown.
Oh.
And it truly was one of the most amazing. I was muted. I couldn't I kept laughing. It was absurd. He came in with just this fire that it looks like it was 5 minutes ago that he filmed it. The second he steps on and does these matches, it's something that it kind of takes, where there are some players in this game where their character outweighs their talent, and then the talent has to kind of catch up. It seems he's a bit closer than I thought he was, and that's what impressed me the most, because I didn't pick him to win this match. That was the one thing, was I took the hype of the Fan League 4 and took Chrissy in the match. But Rick is a lot more prepared for this season of the Schmoedown and this type of game than I thought he was.
I mean, that's really cool. Like, I needed that like a handicap of getting like a season or two under my belt before I really understood that, like, at first I was just playing because I was like, if I play more, like if I win, then I get to play more matches and people get to see more VideoDrew. Like, no, Rick's got the knowledge, and he doesn't need to like do this catch up that I needed. He's got the knowledge.
Yeah, I just want to know as well, VideoDrew, what are your overall thoughts on the rookies this year? How are they getting on? Have you been particularly impressed with them, just in general? Of course.
I mean, they're scary. They're honestly really scary. They're all coming in like knowing a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, I came in like not knowing what this game was, but I don't think there's any rookie out there who's coming in, even like within the celebrity community of like people that we have coming in, like downtown. I forget everyone's name, but I'm like, what? No, I like even the celebrities that are coming in, like they know their stuff in a way that like I just was not prepared in my debut season. Some of them are these fan leaguers. I always say like this is the one sport where like the actual players are like the JV and the fan leaguers are like the varsity team. Like, we are all of us like terrified to go up against fan leaguers, because they play not for just because they want to get the Schmoedown stuff or because this was something that their friend Christian Harloff asked them to do. They play because they like love playing, and it's deadly serious to all the fan leaguers, and it's like it is an all day, every day training session for them. So yeah, we don't underestimate them, and they've so far. I think the most you can say about them is we're just happy they're taking each other out. Like, they have to play themselves first before they start playing any of us.
Yeah, good point. So yeah, going into round two, obviously Rick Raddus goes first. He spins rom-coms, spins off rom-coms, lands on J-Lo, which is obviously a new slice. So yeah, he doesn't miss a question. He goes multiple choice a couple of times. But
call him Jenny from the block, baby. Call him Jenny from the block. Let's go.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's a chance. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think there's any chance that he put that on the wheel. He might have, and I'm just misidentifying like his strengths, and that, and all the better for him for being a character that does not look like he put J-Lo on the wheel, or no, much better. But like, he just fucking ran through it. Like, he ran through that entire thing, and he gamed his way around questions that he did not know, and he's not one of the fan league fours. So like, that's incredible. That's incredibly impressive.
Exactly. And yeah, then obviously Peggy goes, she lands on Robert Redford, then she spins opponent's choice, and he gives her horror. Shock, as VideoDrew said, he does have a horror podcast as well. So yeah, he, she does struggle a little bit on that, misses her first two. He gets the 1 point steals on them. Then she gets kind of multiple choice on the third, and she gets her last one, which is a Halloween question. So end of the round being 13-8. So I'm going to give it to John. Overall thoughts on the round and how both people played, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of them played pretty well. I definitely agree with VideoDrew that I don't think that he put that on the wheel, and it was actually lovely to see a little bit more depth from him, just as far as, again, just kind of not expecting that. And then Peggy in the chat is correct. Peggy did not do anything in round two. Christy did. But watching what Christy did in round two was kind of tough, because I don't know if it was something where it's like they kind of took a swing at her to see if maybe she didn't know it, or if they really did have her pegged as like already knowing she's bad at horror. And maybe that's just kind of like the thing about being in the fan league 4 is that like there was like knowledge that she wasn't going to do as well in that category, but that was a tougher one. It was a tougher.
Horror being so broad, I imagine if I had to be in Rick Raddus' shoes, the idea is that he knows horror. Like that's definitely something he put on the wheel. I don't think that's
can confirm that he put it on the wheel. Can confirm from sources.
And you want, like, if you have opponent's choice and you didn't get a chance to get your thing during spinner's choice or during your round, then you want to, like, see it played. So, like, you're probably going to, unless you know that person has, like, an overlap, like, they're going to know it as well as you know it. Like, you might as well get it out there. You might as well put your slice on the game field.
Oh, that's my mistake. And actually, it's interesting because it kind of connects to what you were talking about with your match with Elliot. Wow. Yeah. No, I really should have thought of that a little bit more before talking.
Yeah. Like, it's something like literally, and again, I'm just speculating. I don't know if this is the truth or not. I'm just saying that, like, if I was him and like I want like my game against Mark Reilly, we both try to outsmart each other, and neither of us had horror on the wheel, even though that's both of our strengths. Because we kind of negated each other. We thought, well, he'll put horror on the wheel, so I can take 2 new slices, and that way I'm going to have the advantage because I'll technically have 3 slices. And he thought, she's going to put horror on the wheel, so I can put 2 new slices, and that way I'll have 3 slices. And we both thought that, and then horror was not on the wheel because like we outgamed each other. And so I feel like that's the kind of strategy level you have to kind of think around, or like not, that. So when you come in with that kind of mindset, horror just being like the random example that happened to work here, but like I know Rick is very good at horror. That's why he has a horror podcast. If I was him and horror hasn't been played yet, and it's round 2, I've already gone, and all that's left is like opponent, and she gets opponent's choice. I want to see what horror questions are going to be on there.
Totally makes it. It's what you're talking about, just with kind of seeing how already so many of these family competitors who this is their rookie season already know so much about this dang game. It was a frightening one, Boggs. Horror is a very fitting category to be talking about when talking about the fearful level of skill we saw.
Yeah, and then obviously going into round 3, she was 13-8 down. Obviously, they're both. I did find it quite interesting, both team talks from from Gucci and from Roxy as well. But she tried the whole spirited thing in terms of coming from behind, and all that. So it has worked in the past many times. Obviously, didn't work today or on this match where she obviously. V had to go for 2, 3, and 5. She got the 2, missed the 3 and the 5, and then he wins by TKO. So his nasty numbers selection kind of works. So, but yeah, he's overall. I did think he was. I was just throwing this thing from start to finish. I'm probably a bit biased, but so what are your overall thoughts on the match? And yeah, it's give me the lowdown.
I think too, Christy going in is that when you kind of see that you're down and there's a possibility that you might get a TKO or not win, the fact too that she focused on some character work there. She's like, I'm going to be memorable. Even if I lose, I'm going to be memorable. I'm going to take my shots at Finstock. I'm going to take my shots at Raddus. I'm going to have fun with Roxy. And you can see that like, even though she was losing, she was having fun. She was putting those character moments in. And so I just want to like commemorate her on that part as well, is that the character work was there as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like she was no slouch. And it's really hard, especially I think the pressure's more on you when you're winning to focus up and like play this game. And so I think it actually is really admirable that like when you're down and you're in that final 3rd round that you like take a moment and think about perspective here and think about what's going to get me my next game. If it's not going to be winning, it might be because I leave an impression. So it's
anyone who's counting out Christy just based off of this performance alone is a fool.
Yes.
Rookies, listen to what Drew just said. Rookies, second-year players, listen to that. That's very important. Like, if you mentioned, like Drew, you've mentioned this before. Like, you knew in your first match the reason why you came. Like, it's like I'm a character. Like you knew, you kind of felt the whole room felt like, oh, she'll be back.
Yeah. And not because I'm good at movie trivia, necessarily.
No, but you mentioned that before, and now you're catching up. And those 2 things, like, you had the character. It's a very high, I always say, like, a video game rating, like, sports rating. Like, oh, I'm good at this. Like, you're really great at this, and now everything can catch up. You knew what you had to do. And that's, like, you have to know that as a competitor. Like, make your mark. That is something that you have to do.
And look, it doesn't have to be super stressful. Like I said, I'm not a performer naturally. It just is, and I don't know how you practice for it. You just kind of have to go on these shows. I think, like go on shows such as yours. Go on these after shows. Go on anything that you can, and just sort of like work on. It doesn't have to be a character. I just think characters are helpful because it helps you get some distance from what people are going to be saying about the character of you, which is always what they're going to be talking about. They don't know you. No one knows you. Like, no one watching the game knows who you are on your off time. So if you have a character, then what they're commenting on is never you. When Shannon calls you annoying, it's never going to be calling you annoying. She's calling the character annoying, and she's in character. So like, it's going to help you keep that cognitive dissonance that like allows you to like not pay that much attention to the Reddit or to the like to the haters. Like, it's going to keep you a little bit distant and allow you to focus up on it. So I don't know how to like tell you how to be a character. I'm just saying that like my perspective always is to be one, because it's going to help you get games, and it's going to help you take this thing a little less seriously. And to Christina's credit, it's like really, you watched her in that last moment, managed to like, figure that out.
Yeah. A very important step to knowing that is also knowing what the people think about you, but the nice people. We only have the nice people here. Soul, you have the nice comments for VideoDrew and the nice questions.
Yes. So we have Jeremy Miller going, what's the balance for you to stay in character while trying to answer questions? And I know you spoke a little earlier that your brain kind of wipes going through, and then you go back and watch it and be like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think it's, weirdly, the hardest thing ever for me has been to stay in character after that Jen Kemp win, because I was just so emotional. And I'm also like a sympathetic crier. Like, I don't know, like I'm a big crier, and I didn't really know that before about myself, like before this year. But like, I knew going into that Jen Kemp match that I was probably going to come out of that crying one way or another. And like, that's not very VideoDrew. Like it just, tears aren't like really, but then like I watched it kind of work because my face is like in some sort of like rictus grin, and I'm like trying to, and it's like some sort of horrible cringe moment, and I'm trying, like, you're just watching me try not to like lose it while I'm talking about Kevin. So it kind of works for that reason. But like, I never want to drop the act completely. Like when playing a game, I never want to just be me, because like, it's just, it's a hybrid, right? Like, it has to be somewhat of a performance, or else it's not going, I think I would get too much in my own head. So it always has to be something that I can walk away from at the end of the day being like, it's like, I hope I entertain people. Not like I hope that I got myself a belt, or I hope I won myself some, like what, some cookies, some brownie points, some fake, like, I mean, you don't get anything for doing a good job except like other people, getting to play the next match. That's the only thing you get for doing a good job on these shows, is playing the next match. So, yeah.
I can definitely say, too, that you are entertaining, and you entertain all of us in all of your matches. And then we have from Ambling Soul saying, now that VideoDrew's marriage plans have fallen through with Makuber, who is next on the list for VideoDrew proposals?
Oh man, that's difficult. I don't have like a promo to cut or anything like that. I don't have like anyone I'm playing to marry next. I will say that like last season, I went into this season thinking, we were still doing in studio things, that VideoDrew was going to be taking the idea that like movie trivia is all well and good, but she like discovered this show, The Bachelor, and now she wants to make this like a dating game show, and like she's going to be treating everything like it's just like another kind of TV game. And so I feel like that's something that like after this debut match, I can work on and see what we get here. I think VideoDrew like doesn't think that she thinks gender is a construct, so I think that would work across all the matches. Time's a flat circle, gender's a construct,
And The Bachelor is a TV show.
You made John's heart happy there.
Oh
saying
no!
The Bachelor.
You can't get me started on The Bachelor. I've gone so back and forth.
Can we steal you for a second and talk about it?
I've never seen The Bachelor before in my life. I've never seen an episode of that show.
Don't do it. Learn from my mistakes.
I know it exists.
Let me be your Jacob Marley and steer you away from this path.
I'd be hey, Toba.
See, even the dog knows. Even the dog's like, no, don't do it. It's just a lot of 23-year-old white people getting too drunk.
I will say that, for this season, I don't have another plan on like who to cut promo with. I will say that like there's a certain Disney character coming out who I feel like a lot of affinity for, who's going to have a movie, I think, this year, and who I feel like now with my 2 new additions to the family, I can sort of do some cosplay as. So that might be happening. So
you're gonna do what to your dogs?
Nothing. I'm not gonna do anything to
I think
the
I know
dog.
the character.
The character. There's maybe a character from a Disney movie that's getting a live action adaptation who has a certain way about dogs that she feels, whose name sort of rhymes with my name. Am I not being clear here?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Lilo and
No,
Stitch.
we understand.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch. Yeah.
Lilo and
And
Stitch.
I'm just kidding. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
Cruella de Vil.
That's right, and that's the song.
next question here we have from Drake and Prayer going, in an evil alternate reality, are you Laserdisc Drew or something else?
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Yeah, I'm Laserdisc Drew. I'm well, on stereo, I think my handle name on stereo is Stereo Drew. And it says not Video Drew is the name of the handle, but like I think it's Stereo Drew. Yeah, I think in an alternate universe, it's DVD Drew, it's Laserdisc Drew, it's VHS Drew, but like, you know, straight to video Drew is also a very good one.
I can't believe we'll
love
never
it.
get to see Zune Drew.
Yeah, exactly. It's VOD Drew. VO
Quibi
Drew.
Drew.
Content Drew.
Yeah, it's content Drew. It's just, yeah, exactly. It's all content Drew.
And then we did get a Streamlabs from 50 Shades of Geek saying, is Video Drew interested in inner geekdom at all?
No. I'm good at it. What's weird is like, I don't think people know this, but like, why would they? Well, I should probably shut up about it if that's true. So no, let's just say no, end of sentence, full stop.
Perfect.
Well, that's exactly what we're looking for, folks. We've been hanging out with Drew. Thank you so much. Give
Thank you so much for having me.
Plug yourself. Plug everything you got going on. Tell the fine people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me tonight at 8 p.m. I have a special episode of my show, Cinema Bias, that I do with Alex Mack, usually on Tuesdays at 8. But it's our 1-year anniversary. We went through half of the brackets of all our shows, trying to pick our best one that we did all year. So we're doing that tonight at 8. You can also find me just like on my YouTube channel. It's Video Drew. Video Drew is one word. It's super easy to just write it as one word. It really helps my SEO. So just do that. Otherwise, you'll get like Drew Brees like videos. Like it'll be like video of Drew Brees. So like
Can I get
don't do that.
videos
Just
of people
Video
named Drew?
Yeah, Video Drew, one word. You can find me on my Patreon. It's Video Drew. We do these study sessions, like I said, twice a week. We do Video Chronic pop culture quizzes Mondays and Thursday nights. That's me and Video Chronic, Nerd Chronic, the great editor of the show, whose home I live in, whose garage I occupy. So yeah, we do. I think we're doing The Mummy with Stacey Howard on Monday, so that's gonna be awesome. Video Vision, yeah, that's pretty good. I like Video Vision. And then Sunday is Live in the Dark with Video Drew, which is my in kayfabe sort of between two ferns space ghost like talk show that I do. And this week we're having on none other than Elliot Dewberry. So check it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's what I got.
Drew, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
know where to find us next time you enter this crazy Schmoedown world. We'll be right here.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Aw,
Folks, oh,
what a
he's
gem.
so great. And we just got to keep this train rolling, folks, because we got more matches to break down. We got 3 more. And we can't do it without one of the funnest, and I'm going to make up words here, funnest competitors in the Schmoedown. It's the powder keg himself, Paul Preston. Come on down. You are the next contestant on the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show. Welcome on in, sir. How you doing? Seem to be a tad muted. I don't know if that was your doing or somebody else's doing. But
Shmominati.
Trying to get you the answer. It's Mannequin 2 on the move.
That is correct. That is
That is correct.
Judges.
So judges, the answer
Judges?
is Mannequin 2 on the move all the
Anyone?
time and every day.
that is the correct answer.
Well, it's great to be here on the Ultimate After Show, which
How you
takes
doing?
place like the next day. Doesn't sound very ultimate. I think the Ultimate Show would happen immediately after a Schmoedown event, right?
I mean,
Well-
I host a show that goes right up until the start of this show. So if you
Like
If
it
that's-
started last night after the pay-per-view. It went all through the night and into today.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
me sleeping right after the event ended, and then waking up and in a mad dash throwing on a shirt. It's a great program. Also sponsored by Stereo. Definitely check it out if you have a chance.
What are you drinking? It's got to fuel that kind of madness.
That's
you
well,
go.
there's nothing that drives you into a fervor like one Budweiser. Hey folks, I'm John Barr. If you want to have the craziest night of your life, have a single Budweiser.
That's how we used to advertise on the Movie Guys. We'd say, hey, you want to lure a young kid into a van? Planters Peanuts. The Planters has to pay us to stop advertising for them.
That's
Okay.
smart. That's that 4D Queen's Gambit chess you're talking about right there.
Bingo. Gotta take the drugs and play the chess on the roof before you play the real game. And that's what I imagined Paul was doing before this game, was playing the Schmoedown on the ceiling and just running every possibility, because it seemed like you were just on your game this week, man. Was that the kind of mentality going in with this kind of new den attitude?
Yeah, well, no, it was go in and lose. That's the new.
Well,
yes,
wow.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, listen, I didn't win last year. The whole year went by, I didn't win. You know how that feels. It's terrible. So I had to change things up, and we changed things up at the den as well. So it's not so much a focused like this kind of thing at the den. We're all just it's working. We're feeling each other out. We're helping each other out. I mean, someone's got a match. Everybody else jumps on a StreamYard like this and starts quizzing and helping out. And and I've leaned into that. Didn't lean into it last year. This year, I've leaned into it, and already it's going well. So
it just seemed like this was the year for the bounce back.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Dungeons kind of set the tone. Y'all are setting the tone. It just seems like this is the year to not count anyone out. That just seemed like last year, everyone just started counting people out, and it seemed like it was a 3-horse race. This year, everybody's in it. And that's what seems so much more fun about this season than last year, is that we're talking about every manager equally every week. It's not like one team all the time. You're all going back and forth. It seems like Kate has been a huge part of that as well. It's been bringing the den together.
Yeah, listen, I was told last year after one of my matches, I believe after final exam and just a post-match conversation, somebody said, look, we're having fun. There's like a high tier of players who just trade the belts around between each other. And there's the rest of us just having fun. I wasn't good with that. So that's led to my off-season change of mind and change of heart in the way I'm prepping for this kind of stuff now. So, and I got to tell you, some of these rookies who aren't getting it done, you got to step up, because it's trickier than ever to make a name. To your point, so I can't wait to see that. That's one. I'll tell you, that's one of the other things that's turned around the den this year too. Our influx of rookies: Peggy Gubbins, Jessica Schloth, Lacey Gillerin, Thomas Harper. These are all hungry young players, and so they jump in and all guns a-blazing, and work as a team to get everybody over the finish line. So. Yeah, so we got a few more of them who have matches coming up. I look forward to seeing what they can do, because right now there's room for a rookie to really make a name, a Kevin Smets type name, or a Robert Parker type name, or a Brendan Meyer type name. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you got the names. That's the thing. The den last year just felt it was right there. Every time somebody had a chance to do it, it just was. This year just feels like there's a bit more pedal to the metal, and I love it. Boggs, any thoughts on Paul the Den before we start breaking down the match, man? Because this is just like a whole new look, whole new paint job.
Boggs, are you in a funeral home with this creepy candle behind you? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I need to redecorate, I guess. But no, it's not a funeral home. It is my living room, actually.
It could be both.
I'm quite posh, you can't tell. But yeah,
I wouldn't like your occupation. If your home is also...
mise-en-scène of the room. Yeah, it's the setting.
I live in a van.
No, Paul, I gotta say, so I don't know if anyone else wants to apologize, but I did pick you for this match. If anyone else picked James White, you can apologize. But the reason I picked you though is because we did have Kate on 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she identified 2 players in particular that for us to look out for this year in terms of the work that they're putting in, the passion, and the overall mindset. She said Saul, and she said you. So obviously, shock, you guys were the 2 ones that won. Well, from what we've seen so far. So yeah, they're one of the reasons, and I saw that come to kind of fruition a little bit in this match. So yeah, you seem like you have points to prove this year, and I just love the kind of mindset that you're kind of approaching the game, and because you're one who's got the character thing well developed and the gameplay, and now it's come together. It seems like it took a bit of time, but now you're kind of putting your kind of initial footprints in to establish yourself as a serious player to try and get some big wins and points for the Den. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a lot more fun to win. Adam and I said we come into the league and win or lose, be memorable. It's a lot more fun to win. So, but yeah, I appreciate that Kate said that. She's obviously turned her year around too, and I think Shout out has to be said to the Dungeon as well, who were even below us, and they clearly did what they had to do to be on top early. But it's early. But yes, they're turning it around. We've turned it around, and it's fun to see.
Gotta love it. And getting right into the match. I mean, we try to get in here and break this all down, but you both
have a
went perfect
visor
in
like
round
me.
one.
You have a visor.
I did.
Like
I
me.
had to. You cover. It seems like you got Britain's greatest tournament covered. I got North America's greatest tournament covered. We got the whole. Let's go.
That you're like
tennis friends here.
You're like an powder keg with the green, the green going there. That's
fine.
good.
Trying to do us up.
This is, of course, a movie too. You know that, right?
It's a fantastic film. I really think it's really underrated. Jon Favreau, doing it with Paul Bettany and Kristen Dunst. Fantastic flick.
Everybody's on board the Bettany train now, aren't they?
Everybody. They weren't then. They should be now.
That's right. All right, go ahead.
They are. But you guys were on par. This first round, it was, and not to you, it was a powder keg. Y'all went off and lit the house on fire. It was 9-9. I mean, is this what you had in mind in round one, that you both were going to go perfect? I mean, how does this feel? I mean, how are you feeling immediately? It's like, this is what you want. You want the best somebody's giving you, right?
It's not the last, and it's not the first. Perfect first round from me. I'm feeling super confident about round one. If I just set that distance and then you can maintain it the whole game, I win. And that happens a lot. I mean, it happened with James and I. It didn't happen until round two, which we'll get to in a second, but that's where I separated and then took the match. But if I can get ahead early like that, yeah. And I think it's general, what Mark Ellis calls breadth of knowledge, that is going to play here. And I think I have that. And it's not just because I've been around and seen a lot of movies, a lot of stuff that, did you guys all say you were born in the 90s? Come on. Like, I saw movies in the theater in the 80s. So I've seen these movies, and now revisiting them with study sessions, which is new to me, and I've leaned into it, is benefiting me. So I think that whole the whole change in attitude and the change in study sessions is what, and mixed with, like, that's what I was saying, that mixed with the history of just being a lifelong moviegoer and my life being longer than others. Yeah, that's what's going to count up to a win.
Yeah, you got it. That's one of the things we've talked about in the past year doing the show, is that there's different things that stack up. There's players who are able to refine what they already know, and those players are dangerous. And then there are the players that are able to just retain and pick up and not forget. And those players are equally as dangerous. When those two collide, it makes for a pretty good matchup, and that's kind of what you got here. John, I'll throw it over to you, man. I mean, Spinner's Choice was the name of the game this week. Is if you ever wanted Spinner's Choice, you needed to play this week in the Schmoedown.
Yeah, I didn't get it. But
yeah, neither of them
go
got
ahead
it.
with your stats.
That's
Anyway.
What are you talking about? I just
Neither
looked
of
at the
them-
match. It says Emily. Look,
Yeah,
it's
get Emily
split.
Blunt.
Look, it's split. I'm looking at the thing. You see this, guys? This is what happens when you have to watch 5 matches, and 5 matches in a week, do all this stuff. John, I throw it over to you for the correct stats.
Colin's like, I'm looking at it now, and I'm getting it wrong.
I'm
Maybe
looking
look
at it now
beforehand.
when I see
This
that
is the
it's
ultimate
split.
Schmoedown show. Come on.
We're the most unbiased show. We have
Yeah.
correct and incorrect statistics,
See?
and that's what makes us great.
That's what's
Correct and incorrect statistics.
That's right.
Correct and incorrect hosts. We have everything.
Exactly. We have everything here, and Paul Preston had everything as far as his second round went. Truly a Knight's Tale, and that's my Paul Bettany reference. Yeah, with Emily Blunt, obviously you got that one, like, especially tough. I mean, I thought all of those questions, the way that you were able to answer the first 3 nice and easily, I was definitely impressed by Emily Blunt. I think she's a great actress, but I know for a fact I would not have been able to pull those as immediately and arguably without multiple choice the way that you did. And then you got that tough Sicario one where it's always like when you get to that kind of like nitty gritty of like, oh, it's just one of the agencies. They're all 3, or I guess 3 of them were 3 letters, and it was just the one that happened to not be an acronym that turned out to be the correct answer. Is that the kind of answer where you kick yourself over, or where you're just kind of like, yeah, no, so what? I didn't get the right name of the like government agency. If you'd asked me if she was part of one, I would have known that.
First misstep of the game, I wasn't going to kick myself by any means. But, yeah, I love that movie. I'm kind of disappointed that now I didn't get it. But, I don't think I've seen it. I saw it in the theater twice. I don't think I've seen it since. So maybe should get a review, especially because it'll show up in a narrow category like that and probably will be asked about many times again.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you definitely it's a solid movie, and you had a very solid second round, especially compared to then James White, who wound up spinning away from 70s and got 70s. And for all his barbs about your age, you want to talk about us being from the 90s, he wishes he was probably around in the 70s because he had a little bit of a tougher time, especially because while he was able to get that 1 point steal off of you for Sicario, you were able to get a 2 point steal off of him with I guess you were able to get 2 1 point steals. My mistake. See, and again, all different kinds of statistics here.
Right, wrong ones. Yeah, but John, that's the deal. This is where the match. James brought his best game, perhaps ever. I researched him playing James Moran and some other people, but I missed him playing against Bibbs. Someone told me he took Bibbs to 5 points. I'd have to see if that game was better than this one. But this game was. Kate thought, because he was in our fold last year, this is the best game he's played. It's the best game, so I had to play my best game, and I think it was the best game I played. So it was going to come down to just that. I had 1 steal taken from me. He had 2. There's your game.
There it was. And Colin, what you got to say about round 3, my dear sweet boy?
Round 2 for me, honest. I was yelling like, it's the Border Patrol for Sicario. She works for the Border Patrol, but it wasn't Border Patrol. It was the CIA. I'm nothing but a bum.
But you're obsessed with wrong stats. Hey, I have to ask you a question. Colin, to your right, just through the blinds, if you reached your hand through there, would you be able to touch Soul and
oh yeah,
grab her shoulder?
If only Soul is always the one with the most correct stats and opinions, so I wish he was able to do it.
Here we go. High five.
Can't prove we didn't do it. Prove it. Can't prove we didn't do it.
I thought for a second you were on my faction, Soul, because of Boggs. It was like you and Soul are on the same team.
Welcome to the show, Paul, for the last 3 weeks.
I was careful
right?
when I said it. I said Soul. I was careful.
Paul, you don't know this, but I'm also in the movie Trivia Schmoedown. I'm also in your faction. I love Kate as well. Like, it's great.
That's good. We don't see Saul much, because he's not here in LA or anything. So I don't know. Maybe.
We both have luscious long hair. Like, you don't know that we're not the same person.
Yeah, me too.
Saul's luscious. Anyway, more wrong stats.
Till we get into round 3, round 3 to me for James, 2 and the 3, get right through them. It gets down to that 5. That 5's a banger. You got one. I mean, if you're laying up Mike Ditka kicking and screaming and Valkyrie, and then all of a sudden, my brain has to revert to in what 1954 musical, you might as well punt me like Jack Black punts the dog in Anchorman, and it's right off the bridge. My brain is out of the world. So I can't even imagine what that's like for my brain to go through those hoops.
This is where breadth of knowledge comes into play. Right. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is one of the top 10 most frequently produced musicals in the country. Every doofus house in every small town is doing that in their season, along with Guys and Dolls for the upteenth millionth time, and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So yeah, I knew that one, and for as much trouble as James gave me in his post show, where he's like he was hoping I would get to my 5 because we know all Preston does with the 5s. I knew that one. So yeah, and he did.
And we just got a Streamlab in from our buddy Tushka saying, so excited for Preston to get the W and to continue the powder keg, to continue to bring the powder keg to our television sets more often, given the opportunity. Would you team up with your old buddy Adam Witt for the movie, guys?
Well, I mean, I would, but
Answer.
It doesn't seem to be happening. Adam has found himself quite comfortable there with VideoDrew. You had guys had VideoDrew on the show, and you never asked her why you called VideoDrew. You even made fun of like Digital File Drew or whatever she was.
Laserdisc Drew.
But you never said, why are you VideoDrew? What does video have to do with any of this? I'd be curious to know.
It killed the radio store.
You did get her to say cognitive dissonance, so that's something. But I thought we'd get to the bottom of why that. And why does John Roca wear a cowboy hat? These are things that, rope a calf, brand a cattle or something. Cowboy hat. All right, so the deal is, what was the question?
No, you're good.
That's the answer. That's the answer.
Okay, good.
That's the correct answer. Yes.
Yeah, it's just really hard to imagine. Like, it's just to me when it's just one of those round 3s where your brain gets pulled like a taffy puller, and to some point the 5-pointer you've just been stretched too far. And that's just because if round 2 went a little bit different for James, I just feel like that's kind of the momentum thing. Oh, hashtags. You asked me to read some hashtags. It's kind of hard to read it when it's like, okay. It says, a new Din sation, but it's a new nation. I'm trying here. Winner chicken dinner. That's a good one. That one I'll take that one. That's a good one. So
depends on where the chicken dinner is. You know, winner chicken dinner, and you go to Denny's. It's like
the only ones I like are the ones that follow a jack and an ace. The only ones I like. Means money.
Or go to Nashville. Go to Hattie B's. Got to shout that out. Even though I'm not in Nashville right now, go to Hattie B's in Nashville.
And if you can't go to Nashville and you're here in Los Angeles, go to Dave's.
Man, LA.
Dave's Hot Chicken.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
I live
so good.
right within walking distance of one of their locations. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, or take a drive down to Knott's.
Oh,
Berry
also,
Farm to Mrs. Knott's chicken dinner. Bobs, where do you go for chicken dinner? Let's do a round.
I go to the canteen when I get my 1 hour lunch break in prison. So yeah.
They don't give you candles in prison.
Wait, no. You just went from you're in a funeral home to now you're in prison. So I ask you, sir, what is the last movie you watched in prison?
Shawshank.
That's the old thing. No, that's too cliche.
I don't know, just to inspire you.
That's like watching
inspiration. You said it's inspiration.
I'm very proud of Boggs for this anding, buddy. This is some real growth from you. I just want you to know I'm really impressed with you, and I think you're doing great.
I'm a bit paranoid about my candles now. I want to take them down.
It's like watching Die Hard 2 on a plane. You don't know.
True.
Or like Superman. You know, flying is always statistically the safest way to travel. Probably not now, sir.
So, obviously, Paul, as well. We haven't addressed your promo. You know, this kind of feeding the movies into you, and eating the DVDs, and like, was a lot of it your idea, or are you feeling okay? Like, because you had to take a lot of prep there, a bit too far. Some of the prep there, but was that your ideas, or was it Christian? And how did you come to them?
Whoa! This is my idea. I want to win, so I have to show that in your promo.
Oh,
people get on there and they're like, "I'm nice and I like to do trivia and this is fun and I want to win." And you guys watch music videos?
Of course,
yeah,
of course.
Actually,
They're horrible nowadays.
Yeah,
back in my day, music videos were small little art pieces,
short films
that reflected what the song was about, because the songs back in my day were about something. So these promos are the same way, and especially now with when we're in studio and we get the green screen and we can yammer. Adam and I had as much fun as we could, singing Disney songs and walking out and coming out the other side of the thing, all that kind of stuff. But here at home, you got props, you got all sorts of stuff. So I came up with it, and I did everything I could to make it as interesting as possible.
And the pan shot at the start, loved it. It was great.
Yeah, and excuse me, that's DVD is still sitting down there.
Hell yeah, brother!
Was that Shawshank? I smelled it. Yeah.
What was Shawshank?
It was a DVD of Shawshank.
Yeah,
I would never eat a DVD.
It's on my mind now.
When somebody
he's doing
burps,
a callback there, Colin.
Exactly.
Well,
I always see why you're in prison.
And this is unfortunately, I just got to give James his due diligence before we move on to the next match, because he's someone last year who I don't think got enough credit for what unfortunately happened, where the poor guy flew out to LA, had a match canceled because of COVID, everything that happened, and then the poor bastard gets put up against William the Beast Bibiani, takes him to the 5-pointer in the first round of the whole singles tournament, and then we don't hear of him again until now. And I think it has a lot to say that Shannon took a shot on him, and that I think there were probably some conversations had where Kate was probably called by other managers and said, "What's up with this James White guy?" And he's a player, and I think hitting 70s is just the wrong slice on the wrong day, and that happens to the best players. So I think we got to just say he'll be back. There's just some competitors never see him again. He'll be back. This is a guy who knows he wants it, and he can tell, because you can tell he's ticked off.
Yeah, I mean that was a thing that you could tell from his play. I mean, a lot of these matches this year have been people racing to see who can lose first. They're trying to crap the bed and find out the other guy's taking a dump faster than they are, and so then they win. But it's not like they came in, and very few have been people who've came in and just dominated. So clearly, both of us had domination on our minds. And again, the one T not crossed, I not dotted, and I took it. So, but I'm happy to, and that's the kind of specificity I'm bringing to the game this year.
And it's like your faction mate Saul was saying, like you like to be able to not only just win, but then win in matches like this, where it really is kind of like someone who is also skilled and able to kind of take you all the way to the end of the match. Like, I think that's also, it's a way to also say, like, yes, congratulations to James, but then also congratulations to you, because this was two really seasoned guys, and you just happen to be the better one this time around.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we've been going for like 20 minutes, and it's all been this James White love. I won, so don't hesitate to like tell me that I did okay.
Guys, come on, guys.
About time, John.
First win since 2019.
Colin's
It's called a
not gonna do that.
segue. It's called a segue.
Yeah.
I was letting the guys do it themselves. You're already my dad.
Am I the who's segueing?
No. Okay. It's okay.
And by the way, let me say this as well, because you were talking about this with Drew. When you're in round 2, first of all, nice work, question writers, because that Richard Gere question about Days of Heaven, one of the answers in the Trick 'em Ups was Gates of Heaven, which of course there was a big movie, of course, Heaven's Gate, and so they were trying to trick you there. Not today though. I didn't fall for that, and I got it right. But I thought that was a pretty tricky optional answer, Gates of Heaven. But what was I saying?
Something about us being wrong about something, I think.
Yes, and I stand by that.
That's fair, and that's fair. And judges, write that down. Colin, I think you were trying to segue us into talking about another den-related match, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we gotta
questions
just
for
throw-
Paul as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I know what it was. Yeah. You were talking about people playing from, you didn't word it like this, but this is what I heard. People playing from a place of fear. Like, oh, I don't want to spin that. You get yourself ready for whatever is spun. You win that match. So you get spinner's choice. You pick what you're great at. You pile points on your opponent, bury them in them, and that they never get out from under them. That's what you do. So that's happening this year.
Yeah.
Got it here.
Yeah. Everybody's
we
afraid.
We gotta get right on into it.
I'm not afraid of any competitors. I'm not afraid of any slices.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we know someone that's not afraid of anybody, unfortunately, and it's not for the detriment of the Schmoedown, the betterment. It's this guy, Bateman. We just got to roll on right into it. It's the last match most of you have probably seen, but it's not the last match we will speak on this evening. You know why, because you know where you are. We got to first start off with Bateman versus Mark Reilly. This has been one of the most talked about rivalries over the last few months. Ever since the breakup occurred, Reilly wanted to run it back. We saw it in the promo. Ben said, you got shaky hands, all this stuff. I mean, we don't need to be so ageist on this show. This is just too much for the Schmoedown. We got to cool with all that stuff. I got to throw it over to Soul. So this matchup has been kind of, this is the definition of the new school versus the old school. And it all kind of came to a head in this match, for better or worse.
Yeah. Well, you were discussing our picks, and I'm sorry, Colin, to you only getting 1 for 5 this week. But Colin and I both picked Mark Reilly because I think that people are counting him out too much. And even after watching this, people count out Mark Reilly way too much because he's a great player. He played really, if you see his last team's match with Ben Bateman, that he knew more of that round 2 than Ben Bateman did. And so I was going in this fully rooting for Mark Reilly, fully rooting for the Den in this match, and I was hoping that he would smoke Ben. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but it was a great match to watch, and I enjoyed his performance. I enjoyed both of their performance, even though Ben it's been like 6 months. Get a new whiteboard and use a black marker. You don't need to be using a yellow marker,
bro. It's a brown marker. I'm taking 10 seconds. Quit using these brown markers. It's easy. It's a black marker on a whiteboard. It's real easy, man. Don't use the last color in the multi-pack.
Not red? We don't want red?
Red works.
But you can see
Red's
that.
fine. We can see
You
that.
tell him, sir. You tell me.
Red pops. That's red, blue, black. That's fine. Anything else, we get into some shades. I'm not
Plus, it was
vibing on.
huge, right? He was
Yeah,
like,
the
"Here's my
ridiculous-
answer."
That's just that. It was like landscape. Yeah, it's the whole cushion.
Can you see it?
I mean, you
You,
look
you
at
still can't see it. You still can't.
Yeah.
See how big it
Yeah.
is.
Sorry, what was
You-
that answer? Hot fuzz?
yeah, and you look at the chat and people going, next match he's gonna have it written on a semi truck and have it drive by the screen, or he's gonna have it written in the sky. Like that's how ridiculous this whiteboard is.
By the way, just like we're getting this privileged view of John's bedroom, awkward. There's a lot of that going on this year with the digital matches. You know, you get to see everybody, and they're putting like posters on their wall with tax. Respect, okay, people. All right, make your bed. Buy a whiteboard. It's like, $1.50 a pen.
True.
Guys, come on, get a microphone. We've been in this for a year, so yeah. Sometimes when I see that, I'm like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to play that guy and beat that guy or girl or competitor or whatever? It drives me nuts. Respect, right?
Yes.
Boggs?
Yeah.
Agreed. 100%. Attention to detail, right? These are the little things that will, you're putting that much effort in. Get a mic, get a nice whiteboard, get a nice pen, right? I 100% agree.
The mic of the bunch, I think.
It's
Yeah,
the
thank
little
you.
things, right?
Listen, you know what it's like in prison. You go up and you punch the biggest guy in the workout yard,
To
right?
get with what you
You
dealt with.
gain that respect. So we
Yes,
need that
exactly.
respect in the
Yes.
Schmoedown as well.
I grabbed it off
Definitely.
someone. Yeah.
Y'all are killing me. I'm trying. Look, this Boggs, and we got to be, pretty transparent. The last time we talked about Ben Bateman in a single setting, it was not pretty on this show. I mean, we got to be fair. I mean, this was months ago. This is a different dude, right? I think we got to kind of say that even he's kind of returned to maybe, I would say, 2019 Ben Bateman. 2020 dude seemed to have checked the briefcase at baggage claim and didn't pick it up again. He's kind of out of here.
Yes and no. So not from me. So what I'm trying to say is that although he lost twice to Dan, the way he plays
Could be a
and how he
blackboard,
plays-
Aisha. You're right, but they don't have chalk. They don't sell chalk anymore. If they had chalk, we could have blackboards.
Oh, you can't get chalk?
No, where do you buy chalk? You want to buy some chalk? Where are you going to buy chalk?
Yeah, but like Lowe's?
eBay?
Little kids
Lowe's?
draw stuff on the sidewalk?
Oh, you're
Prison?
right. I meant like the white
Prison
sticks.
has
You know how like your teacher had at school, where she'd have like the pack of the white chalk, and it'd be like a stick of chalk.
Wait, did somebody's pizza arrive? What is going on? What is
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Soul's
Soul's
chalk
chalk.
delivery just came in, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting my chalk right now.
Straight from Staples.com.
Exactly. No, what I was saying about Ben is, there is, people are expecting big things from him, after last year, a couple of losses in a couple of title matches. Not from me, because I thought he played absolutely stellar, apart from missing the Lucas Black question and the 5-pointer. Yes, he didn't end up winning the title, but to be 7 and 6 points ahead and doing the whole Hitchcock thing, when he put it on the wheel and he pretended he didn't, and Dan missed that gamble. I loved it. I love his gameplay. I love his tactics. I love his strategy. And yeah, and outside of Collins, I think he's potentially the most dangerous singles player. Like, you can just see, almost, in my opinion anyway, in almost any category he gets, you can kind of see him going perfect in it. It's just that's how efficient his studying is and his gameplay is, and his just whole demeanor with the glasses and everything. You don't know where he's going. You don't know if his repeats are legit or not. His mind games, his tactics. I think he's a complete player, almost in singles anyway. So yes, high expectations from him. But for me, he brings that excitement. And so no criticism from me. I think he's an elite player, an A-level player, and I'm super excited for every match he plays. So going in, I was expecting a big win from Bateman, to be honest.
Yeah, and let's just throw it over to round one, John, because this was kind of, it wasn't Reilly's best round one. Bateman seemed to have some moments where Reilly could have taken a step up, but Bateman just kept getting the leg up on him every single time it fell.
I mean, I wasn't watching the chat when this happened, but was there a lot of fervor around the fact that Bateman missed the question
Yeah.
about his father?
Yes.
Jason Bateman?
I can
There was
imagine
definitely-
it probably
okay.
was.
Yeah, because that was the thing that stood out to me the most. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I definitely understood where Mark was coming from with that Mila Kunis mix-up. I think it was one of those things where he just heard that first movie and just kind of started writing it down. It happens. Sometimes you got to take that second. The Hot Fuzz question, like, I love that movie. I do not associate that tagline with that movie ever when I'm thinking about it. But then Bateman missing Bateman, I mean, I don't know. That one I was just like, come on now. Come on now.
I think that's one of those things where I said before, the kind of the taffy puller brain, where the question kind of leads you a certain way, and then you don't really know Michael J. Fox's name except being Scott in Teen Wolf, but then you hear Teen Wolf 2, and it's like, whoa, we're
That's
totally
the boxing
going.
one, right?
Yes, I believe.
And I loved in the chat, it was Bateman screwed Bateman kept popping up.
Bingo. It was all over the place.
Yeah, I was shocked by that because, watching Bateman play in a Schmoedown match is about as exciting as watching a financial adjuster fill out a TurboTax form. He gets it right, but it's no fun. He's standing there for like 90 minutes, like a guy, like a nervous, referee afraid to say it's a touchdown.
Right.
He takes the whole 15 minutes though, and that's what works well for 15 minutes. 15 feels like 15
feels
minutes.
like it.
15 seconds. And so I thought with 15, taking the full 15, you'd think he'd come up with Jason Bateman. I was shocked he didn't. But so you talk about Ben always getting a leg up on Reilly. Not at the end. Reilly got the leg up on him. Ended up being only 1 point difference at the end.
Yeah.
Round one.
Yeah, it just seemed to be like just the whole match in terms of just seemed to be right there. Reilly's just out of reach. Soul, is that kind of the vibe you got from this? And on to round 2, your thoughts on round 2?
Yeah, when you're watching this match, you're just like, oh, Reilly can come back and it's just a point. Oh, it's just 2 points. He's got this. All he needs to do, and kind of like just previewing a little later, it's like all he has to do is answer that one question and we would keep going forward into the match in like round 3. So it was kind of like throughout the match, it was just like, man, Reilly, come on. And I was rooting for him because I was just like, man, fuck Ben Bateman the whole time. I was just like, come on, Reilly.
How dare you?
It's not like her.
I wish I was a bug so I could cover his poor ears.
Is it right that she would say "fuck Ben Bateman" but then also giggle lip ton while she says it? Is that
that's
vibe?
that's brand. That's the brand.
Because I was just like, I was so rooting for Mark Reilly so much this whole match. So I was like, oh man, Mark, you almost had it at so many points in this match.
Yeah, Aisha's right with that comment there. If you look at the
nailed it.
If you look at the numbers, I mean, but he's still got a 4 games above 500. The thing I loved about winning was I got above 500. James was at 1-1, I was at 3-3. One of us had to get over that hump, and so I'm glad I did that. Reilly's still well out above that, like 4 games or 4 matches or so. So he'll be out there, and you should be afraid of that record. Whoever faces him next. That plus coming off this loss, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
To go against the Den if he's the guy we're throwing out there.
Don't fire a light under Mark Reilly's ass because he's gonna come and destroy you. Like we've seen that multiple times before. He's been here since season 1. Come on, guys, you should know better.
Going all the way to the top if you let him, because he knows exactly what it's like to be there. Boggs, I'll throw it over to you, man. Close this match out. Let us know. Round 3, dude. It just, like everyone's saying, just wasn't Reilly's day. Ben just seemed to be a bit more, just on the nose.
Yeah, first of all, I love Kate and Mark's Kate's whole new demeanor. Obviously, she's really contributing now to her players, I feel. Just reassuring him, kind of backing her player fully. Really like their vibe and their overall just comedic way of being. She obviously getting her shots in at Bateman because that's what you're there to do as a manager. Try and use your tools because he's throwing Reilly off a whole match. So doing her bit to because Reilly's kind of too classy to do that, right? So she's doing it to try and get under his skin, try and throw him off. So why not? And then as you said, it's he does miss the Capote question. Just a bit gutted for him as he's done so. And then obviously Bateman's hits 2 and 3 and Reilly's hits 3 and missed the 5. I mean, just overall, just where we're at now, like I said, I just said it up top, I think Bateman's an elite player. Like I'm talking A+ in my opinion. I think Reilly, I believe he was like 3-1 last year in singles. So in my opinion, he can anyone B level down, he'll beat no problem. I think the A level players currently right now, how the game is, he may struggle. I think he lost to, I believe, Oyama last year in singles. and then obviously and Bateman now. So I think them A-level players currently right now, he seems to sometimes fall short. But anyone B down, he's on fire.
Someone is a pizza for you.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Everyone kills him off. Everyone writes him off. I don't want to.
Boggs,
I want to butt the guy. So
I would like
a pizza, Boggs.
I would like to formally say that Boggs' thoughts are his own and not the thoughts of the Ultimate Schmoedown.
Yeah, obviously, and then Roca coming in afterwards, calling him out. As he should do.
Wait, Boggs, let's do this. Let's break down the numbers, Boggs. So yesterday, you would say Bateman is an elite player.
In my opinion, yeah.
He missed one question yesterday, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I believe so.
The Bateman one.
Yeah, the last one.
Okay, he aced round 2, correct? And then
yes, perfect.
3, he got his 2 and 3.
He got his 2 and 3, yeah.
Roca, would you say is an elite player?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay, so he missed one question, the steal potential, correct? Didn't know who started in a shark tail?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, I missed one question.
Yeah.
What branch of the government did Emily Blunt serve?
I see where you're going with this.
Would I be an elite player, Boggs?
So currently, I'm talking the whole career. By the way, so I'm talking being edge on it, won titles. You're on the way. So for me,
just led the
in my opinion,
so hard.
No. So I'm not gonna lie to him. So I in my opinion,
RB3 disrespectful. RB3 disrespectful.
In terms of how you played the match, Paul, yes. If you want me to say that, yes. But in terms of overall career, obviously you haven't had title matches. You haven't been in a number one contender match. You haven't played the Rocas, the Batemans. You know what I'm trying to say. So currently, right now, for me, you're high B player. But to get to that A player, you need a win against a top 10 player, in my opinion. So
okay. All
yeah.
right.
But that was your first win in 2019, Paul. So
prove him wrong, Paul.
I mean that's fair, right?
That's what I'm doing this year. So don't worry about it.
Exactly. I look forward to it. I honestly look forward to it. So who would you want next? I mean, do you want someone like Roca or Bateman, or what are you thinking?
Well, listen, I called out Bateman at the end of my match, and then he went around, turned around, and played the same kind of game I did. So I think we're pretty well matched for one another.
Okay.
And like I said, I've seen a lot of these matches this year, and I'm like watching people actively try and lose. So I want to take on someone, that's actively trying to win. Because if I beat them, then that makes a statement. So I'm in. I'm into something like that.
Wait.
Yeah.
Boggs, no powder samples for you apparently, bud.
I mean, that's fair. I don't think you can get him sent to prison, to be fair. But
well, Soul, I do believe you got a couple questions from the Outlaw Nation for one powder keg. Please lay them on him. Light that.
So, first from Jeremy Miller, what is the most important thing you've learned going into this season compared to last season?
Lean in. Tom and I clearly never had any chemistry, right? He knew a lot. I was coming off a hot season, my first season. So it seemed like it was going to be great. And I thought last year the free-for-all was on my birthday. And I was like, oh, man, this is going to be great. And then that got canceled. The whole year was just the tank. So, more of this, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing, expecting different results. So the idea of leaning into the whole group dynamic of the den, which was new, not just for me, but other members of the den as well. I think we're all doing different things, and that energy from the rookies. I mean, that's mainly it. I mean, I've said that already, but that's the main thing. And then studying, revisiting these movies. I like to watch movies, but I also like to talk about them. Adam and I talk about movies all the time. It's basically study session is that, but for a benefit instead of just wasting time. So that's those two things: the group dynamic, everybody helping each other out, and the study.
What a great segue there for this question from Ambling Soul. When will you and Adam Witt come on the desk? I need that in my life.
Interesting. When we retire, I don't know.
Someone say FCL, maybe.
We're both hot in the playing, so I'd be curious to see. Well, then we would just goof on it. Did they really want that? You got to have somebody on there who's like, I moved the show from this part of the show to this part of the show. And we would just be, cracking jokes and being douchebags. So it's tough call.
I mean, look, they're putting Guy on the desk apparently. So I don't know necessarily what the standards are.
Yeah, if it's be crazy, then what are you saying, Saul, about Adam and I?
No, there was Ambling Soul's question, but I'm saying that I would love to see anything you and Adam Witt do. So I would love to see it.
Well, the next video we want to make is what if singles and teams were like Star Wars? So I'm looking like if your question in singles and teams was, where did Jack Dawson's grandparents go to high school in Titanic? What? So we're working on that.
That's awesome.
I would love that. I can't wait.
Well, I think we'll make it a little easy for Ryko this week. How about we just go ahead and bring Ryko in to the live show, Canada Rocks, instead of asking his question that he sent in.
Hey.
What is up, sir? How's it going?
Hello. Hey, I'm a big fan of you, Paul, for two reasons. Yeah, one is because I love your character. I could listen to you all day. Even listen to, oh, that's perfect. The other side's better. I just, yeah, there we go. That's perfect. But the other thing is I'm a director nerd like you. I just love directors because I know that's your thing. So what is it about, like...
What are you doing? Get all the other competitors on my thing.
I know. No one will go back and watch your old matches. Come on. So what is it about directors? Why directors? Right? Because not like a whole bunch of Schmoedown people don't know that.
Yeah, it's you might be thinking it's rare when somebody has a broad category that's their favorite, like one of their go-tos. But for me,
exactly.
Like, I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. There were 2 movie theaters. Eventually there were 6 when the Quartet opened out at the mall on the outside of town. And you had to, if you want to know about movies, I would read the credits. I would read the posters. I would collect the posters. I put the posters up in my room. Next thing you know, and I also wanted to know who's behind this. Like, why did I love broadcast news so much? Okay, who did that? It was James L. Brooks. All right, so then I just remember that. Oh, wow, this was horrible. Who do I blame for this? And then I looked to see who the director is. But I will go on for a brief tangent and just say I went on a podcast this morning and did a huge mea culpa to Zack Snyder for Justice League, which I had trashed in his mere idea. And he turned me around in 4 hours to something of quality in that film. So that just shows you it's not always the director who I just said who's to blame for this. Sometimes it's Warner Brothers. But anyway, yeah, so it was a lot of credit reading. And then after a while, it just stuck with me. I wanted to know. Also, it became a sign of interest in a movie. I'm still amazed that people don't want to know who made this. And I tell people, oh, we're going to see this movie. Oh, yeah, and it's from the guy who made this. What? And then they get more excited. Or So I'm shocked people don't look to see who the director is more often because it's always been a thing for me since I was a kid. Since I was an e-powder thimble.
Well, yeah, same here. And just one thing. So I heard your story about your connection to Seven Brothers, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and that really touched me a bit because you talked about I assume it was your wife that was in the show?
Yes, my late wife about 6 or 7 years ago was in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. And, I talked on a podcast last night about let's get ready to talk Schmoedown. I think we were ready by the time the show was over. But I was telling them that, maybe part of also losing last season was losing a good luck charm in my wife. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. There's so many things at play between chemistry and COVID and all this. But I think Karen came down in that match and said, "Did you ask this question about that show I was in that Paul clearly knows and see if the other guy knows it?" So yeah, she played Mrs. Hollum in that show at the La Mirada Performing Arts Center many years ago. So thanks, honey.
Damn.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I just wanted to hear that again. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you win again. I'm really looking forward to it.
Where are you from in Canada?
Toronto.
Oh, yeah. I studied in Second City up there many moons ago.
Well, when? I did Second City as well.
Back when it was Fire Hall.
Me too. Oh, my God. Is there any chance we ran into each other? I did it in the mid-'90s.
Bruce Hunter, Alan Gutman, Deborah Kimmett. These were my teachers. Great
Look
people.
at you guys.
Bruce was my teacher, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
That's awesome.
Hold
look
up.
who's here.
Somebody's coming on in. Who is it? It's the boss himself. What's up, boss man? It's the Outlaw.
Yes.
What the hell? 2 hours, I said. You guys are past the 2-hour mark almost. You're infuriating me as the executive producer on this show. Maybe spankings on Monday. I'm sorry now. Why is Paul Preston still on this show, goddammit? Get him off the show.
Listen, your own network, and you wouldn't pull over to make this call?
I got a screening for nobody that I'm driving to LA to do with your friend Shannon McClung. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
sure.
no time to stop.
Don't lie. You're headed towards the border, and when you get there, you're going to have to cut the call off.
How dare you? How dare you? That's racist,
Well-
and I won't have it on my network. I won't have it. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Well, boss, we're making money. We got Brian Brawler coming in here with a super chat because Paul's last name is Preston. He grew up in upstate New York. Also, he made me laugh. That's the only reason I'm donating any money. It's not $100 because John Barr watches reality TV, and you heard it here first. That's why we're donating more money.
All right.
There you go. There you go, John Roca. You're welcome. My presence on here is now funding your whole network.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's about
I
time
guess
you
you
paid for something.
I guess he does have to replace me now as the host legally, huh? That's what it sounds like. Bummer.
Boom. Well, Canada, Ryko, thanks for hanging out, bud. I'll see you in the Outlaw Nation chat this week.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye. Bye.
Continue, Rico.
All right, Roca, let's set aside our differences for just a second and bond on this. Are you going to a theater?
A drive-in theater. Yeah, they're doing a drive-in screening of Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk one.
Yeah, still doing a
So,
drive-in.
that's-
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the theater just yet, but man, I can't wait to get back in there.
No doubt, no doubt. This one's like being done by, it's at Universal Studios, so they're setting up a special screening. So I was like, you know what, I haven't done one of these in a while. I'll drive up, but I'm gonna tell you this right now, I'm never doing this again. It makes no sense. So because it's like literally, it's gonna be 5 hours of my day to drive up for a 90-minute movie. No offense, but it's gonna be a fun experience, but I don't think I'll ever do it again.
Well, it better be good. And Paul, thank you so much for hanging out, man. Any last words for the Schmoedown? Let everybody know what is coming from you in the den this season, man.
Well, I think you saw that announced was my team. Oh, I went full screen. My team with Ben Goddard, the Outsiders. We went back and forth on the name of that and kind of like it because it says who we are. We're not those guys who are just trading the belts back and forth for all these years. We're new, and we're going to shake things up. And if you come to us, if you sleep on us, you know it's going to be a gang fight. So yeah, we're the Outsiders. You got a wrestling reference there. You got a TV, you got a movie reference for the whole package. So I'm excited that we're going to show up in the teams tournament whenever that is. Also, if you just want to see nonsense that Adam and I are up to, the Ford Fiesta launched. This is a podcast celebrating Harrison Ford movies, one per episode, starting with Dead Heat on a merry-go-round, going all the way to the Call of the Wild or whatever he decides to put out next. Right now, we're in the interesting years that are pre-American Graffiti, when he had like a line or two. The episode that's out now is about the movie Love. It was a comedy, and we mark his first punching somebody on screen. And he's a famous guy, so you should tune in to see who it is that he punched. But yeah, so that's going strong. I'm still doing a lot at themovieguys.net. We just interviewed Rodney Asher, the director of A Glitch in the Matrix, and author Dan Bronson, who was a story analyst at Paramount, helping design and greenlight things like Witness and Top Gun and Godfather 3. And so he's got stories for days. So yeah, just getting it done and having a great time.
Boom, man. Well, we can't wait to see more of you this season. It's always fun to see you, and we cannot wait. The Den is on a tear this season, and we know y'all are coming. And so thank you so much. You know where to find us, man. Anytime you want to come on, you know where we're at.
John, I'll see you in the teams tournament.
Ooh!
Yeah, you will. Yeah, if you get out of that first round, good luck. Good luck, Pally.
Hey, listen, you got out of the first round against one of the two people we're playing last night quite handily, so I'm not too worried.
Listen, 80s references are great, but the 80s are over, and so will be the Den very, very soon. Very, very soon.
We're the best around, and no one's ever going to forget it.
All right.
Got a burning heart.
Later, Paul. Thanks for hanging out, bud. We'll talk to you later.
See you, Paul.
Folks, let's give him a proper introduction. It is the future movie trivia Schmoedown singles and teams champion of the world. It is the Outlaw, John Roca. Welcome back to the show, sir. How's your day going?
Yeah, it's going well. It's been busy. Recorded our Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2 spoiler review on the Geek Buddies with Mike Kalinowski. That's dropping later today. and worked on my Nobody review because I've already seen the movie, and I recorded a review already, and now I'm in a car driving to LA. How are you all doing?
We're
Doing
killing
great.
Doing good, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I have it on some good authority that perhaps the show has been going longer than some people would prefer. But other than that, I'm having a ball with my friends.
That's good. That's good. No, it's
So
good. And I'm, yeah, go ahead, Sol. What's up?
I was gonna say, so then let's get straight right into this match, so that way we can have this keep going.
Good.
And that's my soul's best.
So, Roca, never said this before, but Gucci was right. He said this was the main event, not that other stupid match with Ben Bateman. This was the main event. How are you feeling going into this match?
Well, I mean, I spent a lot of time since the losses last year. I had extra months to really sit and ruminate over the mistakes, over the nervousness, over the virtual style of play. And so there were a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions about myself, about whether I could still do it, whether this new virtual way of doing things meant that I'd constantly be close with no cigar. And so there was a lot of time. So I knew when I came into this season, I had to make some changes. I dumped some dead weight in Dan Murrow. We kicked out Snake Ben Bateman. And I, told Tom, we got to have a plan, and we got to come in focused and reclaim what we always said we were, which is the best in the game. He's the best manager in the game. I'm the best player in the game. And that was our focus this year, to make people remember how good we are. Getting young people, getting freshmen, getting rookies to come into the league that we can train and hone and get focused up was incredible for us. And that put us across the line. We knew what we were doing in that moment. So I was excited to come into 2021 and see what we had, and being put up against Liz Shannon Miller. Like I said many times, when you're at my level, you only play best. And she is one of those bests that a lot of people thought was going to wipe the floor with me, including.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I think
Sorry.
it's just, I
We
think
lost
that's
you.
it. But I think we got to piggyback right off that, just to say that the respect that she was showing every competitor was, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose to a champ. And I think that was the thing that kept steady the whole match was, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose to a champ. And champ, boom, you did your thing.
Yep. TKO'd, or nobody had that. Did anybody have that box checked on their program last night? Nobody thought I was going to TKO Liz, and it happened.
Outlaw Nation knew.
Outlaw
Nation knew.
Yeah. Respect to those little outlaws. But, they talk all their crap. They talk all their mess. All these managers, all these players. But one door gets locked, and you're in a live event. The pressure is on, and I've played in so many that you just have to keep a level playing head, and you never know what can happen.
So let's go right into round one. I love the fact that the first question asked was a question that we, the patrons, asked you in our training session. So that felt vindicating for us, that we're like, oh, we're doing the right thing. The questions we are making are showing up in the Schmoedown. I also want to commend you on that use of the JTE for getting that Assassin's Creed to get that perfect round, both of you getting a perfect round in round one. Because especially too, because they put it in the action adventure category. I think it would have been a little bit of easier question if it was video game movies category, because you would think more, oh, Michael Fassbender, video game movie, Assassin's Creed. So Boggs, I throw to you. How did that round one go for you?
So, I mean, obviously they're both going perfect, right? What's not to be impressed by? But for me, I was more impressed with the kind of Spanish intro that you've done, Roca. That's kind of the first time I've heard that. I had no idea what you were saying, to be honest, but I appreciate it because obviously a lot of Latinos watch the show.
You called Sam Levine a tiny man. I know there's some form of,
help me out, John.
Sam
I had no idea
being
what you said.
a tiny person.
That's all you need to know.
Samito Levine. That's what he is. Yeah, I mean, my original goal was to play the whole match in Spanish in honor of Cesar Chavez Day, which is happening in a few days. A lot of people were like, it's not till the 31st. Yes, but they're celebrating it here in California by giving people the day off yesterday. So get with the program, you morons. And so I had to kind of get that all squared away and have them all ready to go with it. So I was going to do the whole thing in Spanish, but then I realized, it would mean monster subtitle work for the production staff, and they're already stretched to the limit with all the matches they're trying to get going and trying to get squared away. So I didn't want to put that much more work onto the production team. But suffice it to say, I just came out guns blazing in Spanish.
And I will apologize. I'm going to say this part in Spanish. Gracias por todo representando los latinos. Todo me quiero a ti totalmente. Gracias, gracias.
Gracias.
All right, let's go into this round 2. And that spinner's choice, 4 times spinner's choice between these 2 matches. And you put sports on, you pick sports and you go perfect. Perfect in sports. How did that feel when you got the spinner's choice? How did that feel going perfect in round 2? Where were your thought process there?
Oh, well, I mean, as soon as it spun spinner's choice, I was very happy about that. I mean, I probably could have stumbled through rom-coms and did all right. Maybe could have pulled out 6, 7 points. But, the way we ended that first round, tied 9-9, I knew I had to take something that I was really confident in. And I know the sports movies were something that we focused on pretty strongly in our training sessions and wrestlers in film. And I just felt sports movies felt like the better choice in this situation, just in case she spun opponent's choice and we could throw wrestlers in film up there against her and have her maybe get, if she was able to, if lucky enough to get 3 of them, maybe the 4th one would be the one that we could steal. And every point was going to matter. Once you're out of that first round and you're tied 9-9, every single point is important to try to get. So in my mind, I figured, let's do sports. I know a lot about sports movies, and then if she spins spinner's choice, we'll give her wrestlers and films. And the questions were, for once, the questions were actually about sports movies, not random things that happen to have some kind of sports in them. So it was great to kind of run through that category and put that pressure on Liz.
And Liz herself also getting spinner's choice. She chose DreamWorks. And didn't go the way she planned for DreamWorks. And then also we do have to talk about that challenge of her saying Kung Fu Panda 3, then going, wait, no, I meant Kung Fu Panda 2 after you had Mark asking, what did you say? And you going in there trying to challenge.
Successfully challenging.
And Mark going, wait, let me finish. And then the challenge came out after knowing for sure that the answer was confirmed to be Kung Fu Panda 2. What was your mindset picking that challenge, having Gucci behind you for that challenge, and where you were going in the challenge and also leaving the challenge there?
Well, what I can tell you is this. I've played the game long enough where people think if they spin opponents or spinner's choice against me that they've got exactly what they wanted. But I can't count how many times people have spun spinner's choice against me and I've stolen points off of them. I mean, in essence, JT spun spinner's choice when he got Sly and Arnie for our live event. Man, when I beat him the second time, spun spinner's choice, ran around the studio with, I think it was Sasha Pearl Raver and whoever else was there that day, and he missed 2 of the movie release dates. So I always keep it chill, and if I felt like she had made a mistake in choosing DreamWorks Animation, there are so many movies to choose from in DreamWorks Animations, and the question writers have been incredible this year. They'll give you 3 gettable ones and then one that's kind of a little bit tougher, and you got to really know the category. And I thought for sure she was going to get at least 3 I might get a chance to steal one. I had no idea there'd be 2 steal opportunities on the table, and I was really surprised she missed the Steve Martin short one. That was an easy one in my opinion. And then this 2-pointer popped up. So when I tried to challenge, I tried to stop Mark Ellis from confirming her answer so that I could steal and get the 2 points. I know what happens when Mark Ellis makes decisions sometimes in my matches. So I was trying to stop him from confirming yes or no. And when I heard her say, you know, I meant Kung Fu Panda 2, that's when I jumped onto the challenge. Before Mark confirmed whether she was right or wrong with either answer, it was invalid immediately because she answered twice 2 different answers. So it's invalid. Whatever her answer is already invalid. And I wanted a chance to steal, but Mark pushed through, confirmed that she was correct with Kung Fu Panda 2, and then they did the challenge and had to come back and give me a new question. But yeah, I was trying to jump that. And look, Liz is a great player. We knew there would be an opportunity to challenge something. We just didn't know when it was going to show itself, and she put it on the table when she made that mistake.
And then you also have, right, they bring you a new question asking you, not asking the lead, but pretty much who the lead was in Shark Tale, being Will Smith. And I knew if they said lead role, you would have known it. But they're, again, the Christian writers, they're so smart and they're so tricky sometimes, and they're doing such a great job. They're not going to tell you that this is the lead of the role. They're going to give you the character's name. So where was your mindset after missing that question, that steal opportunity, even though you were up several points to her?
Yeah, I was incredibly mad at myself because unlike Ben Bateman, I don't blow 7-point leads in the final round. So I knew if I get this steal, I'd have a 7-point lead going into the final round. No matter what her answer would be the 4th question, I'd have somewhat of a large lead possibility here, which would give me a lot more space and comfort in the final round. So when they asked the question, it was worded in a way that made it seem like this was an ancillary character and not the lead of the film. And no, that's my fault. I didn't know the name. I haven't seen that film in forever, and I totally forgot the name of Will Smith's character. So yeah, kudos to the question writers. They did it in a way that you would have to know the character's name to get the easy answer, which was Will Smith. I mean, I was ready for, are they going to ask about Martin Scorsese, who plays like kind of fish that's underneath Robert De Niro? Are they going to ask about Jack Black's brother? Because I think I know who Jack Black's brother is, who voiced that character. It's Maltasanti. It's Imperioli from Sopranos. So I was ready for a tougher question, and they gave me the lead, and because I didn't know his name was Oscar, I blew that question. I was kind of kicking myself. But then Tom came in after that round, and Tom was like, don't fucking dwell on it. Let it go. We're going into the third round, the 5-point lead. Let's focus on that. So he was really invaluable in that moment when I was about to not blame myself for blowing a 2-point steal. He was really great at getting me focused and ready to just kind of relax into that third round.
And I know for Tom, there's been a lot of comments about he's not really a manager for the digital age. And I will say that this time, like seeing him calm you down, because we've seen the Outlaw get a little rattled before, even with being up 5 points. Tom going, you're up 5 points, relax. And so Colin, your thoughts on Tom actually like doing really well as a manager in this match?
It just seemed like he finally had a reason to give a shit, and it was great, and it felt like he was finally in a comfort zone that he'd been waiting to be in for months. And I'm so glad that John Roca gave this guy a reason to act like he wanted to be in the room, and the second he returns to that top flight manager status. And he immediately kicks in, supporting his players in round 2. And I just got to kick it right on over to Boggs, man, because I know you in round 2. This was just something that, this whole match was just, it was John and it was Gucci. And it was the best I think I'd ever seen the two of them play off each other.
Yeah, well, obviously what you're saying there in terms of Gucci telling Roca just to settle down, that was like, yes, thank you, Gucci. Like he normally just kind of bigs his players up. That was a nice, subtle, way of relaxing the situation and things like that. But John, I do need to run through something about your round where I have seen some online discourse about that. I forgot the question, but the second answer that you had on your sports round where you gave an answer, it was the running, when you give like 3 answers in one, right? You give running, track and field. And I just want to know, right? So because of what happened here, so I believe that they should have challenged that because you didn't actually give one answer. You didn't say, oh, it was just running, right? You gave multiple answers. So firstly, I want to know if you would have challenged that, if you were them. Secondly, I believe that because, Sam potentially would have challenged you in round 1. I think you shut him down in round 1. So because, you've kind of shut him down in round 1, they've been hesitant to try and maybe challenge that. And I just like the way that you took control of the situation, you took control of the match from that moment where you've maybe asked for a repeat in the last second there and you've shut Sam down. So I believe that they were hesitant to challenge that because you were obviously running, I think is the right answer, but you obviously gave multiple answers as well. So like I said, 2 questions. Firstly, would you challenge that? Secondly, what do you think about you shutting Sam down?
No, well, yeah, the shutting Sam down thing, I knew he was going to do his things. You know what I'm saying? And the smart thing you can do when you play Sam Levine, and that's who you essentially are playing when you're playing any of his players, you're playing Sam Levine as well, is you've got to kind of get into his head and mess with him a little bit. And I think me telling him that, I've never seen somebody make so much of one season of a canceled show, it was a way to kind of get the dig. And then he printed out my headshot in black and white, and I knew I had him. I knew I had him at that point in his head. And so, but the thing is, I don't think I would have challenged that answer because I didn't say javelin, high jump, and running. What I said was running, cross country, or track and field, which is all part of the high school thing that they were doing. So running is what, and it's all it's all relative. I didn't say 3 different sports.
Yeah, sorry, Boggs. Got to be American there. Roca's right. Roca's
just,
right.
Just
he
track and field
correct. Got to be American here. Right? That's correct.
Track and field's a bit, it is very open, right? That's what I would have done.
You're right. Right. I mean, I knew it was.
That could be 400 meters,
right?
Could be 800 meters, could be
answer
1500.
they wanted.
Yeah.
Boggs, I hate to tell you, buddy, but Americans don't make movies about the difference between the 500 meters and the 800 meters. We make movies about people running. That's all we know how to do, bud. We don't get that specific here.
Chariots of Fire is where you're going to find the 100 and the 400 Chariots of Fire.
Exactly.
Right. Americans don't do that. Americans don't do that.
I love it. Man,
we're a simple people. We're a simple people.
Simple people. We just like to move our legs one after the other, and that's it. John Barr, you're drinking one Budweiser one at a time, and it seems to be only one throughout the entire show. Do you have one question for the Outlaw in terms of how this match went?
I mean, I don't have too many questions necessarily, as opposed to just congratulations, mayhaps. Obviously, I guess this is not really about the match, but I know we kind of talked about that JTE usage up top, and of course, if I am thinking of questions for John the Outlaw Roca, I'm thinking about this new team called Rushmore, which happens to feature you and JTE, and in my mind, this is one of the 2 teams in my mind as far as this team's bracket, which we'll break down at a later date. But this team scares me. This is a team that I'm like, ooh, shoot, they're going to make some people very sad and bleed a little bit. So, I mean, like, how much as far as planning ahead for the season, did you know that, did you and Dagnino know that this was the dream as far as your team? Were you kind of talking it over with Tom and with Craig maybe as well, just as far as, how soon did you know that this team was going to be a thing, and how long have you been training for this very moment?
I mean, I think we knew quite well. Initially, Craig and I had discussions, but the way we drafted kind of changed those discussions after we drafted. I like JT as a person. I've always gotten along with him. Even when we're on opposite sides of the fence, I've always gotten along with him. And of course, he's become one of the new fourth on my Game Time show on Mondays. So that will continue going forward, by the way. I love having JT on the show. It's a great new voice. And so we'd had great conversations, and we just naturally fell into a rhythm of conversation and respect, and it just seemed natural. And I wanted to see where his level of play was at, what his level of knowledge was at. And we've been having these sessions with the Finstock Exchange players years, having these study sessions, having these matches against each other, these mock matches. And JT hasn't missed a step, ladies and gentlemen. And you all are going to find out when he takes on Ben Goddard down the road that my man has not missed a step. I hope Ben isn't overlooking him. I hope the Den, you just saw one of the one of the throwaway banana peels on the Den, Paul Preston on here. Like, I hope they're not overlooking JT because he hasn't been in the game for a bit. My man is still as hungry as ever. He's as driven as ever. He's as smart as ever. And that's the kind of person I want in my corner. I don't need a Dan Murrell that I have to constantly help and talk and stroke. I want a JT that is ready like a junkyard dog to get in there and then laugh at your mauled body. That's what I know I want, because that's the level of play that we are at in this league now. No more of the stroking. No more Mr. Nice Guy. No more, oh, are you okay? No. We'll come here to play. Once you step inside the ring, all bets are off. And I knew to get me to the next level, win the belt again, I needed a partner like that, and JT is just a perfect fit. And Rushmore just irritates the piss out of everybody, which is beautiful. Kalinowski crying, the KO, the balls. Bro, defend a belt. Then maybe you can say something about a team's champion, for God's sakes. So, I
Call
mean,
him
like,
out.
they used to hang that on me. You can hang it on Kalinowski now. Can't defend a belt. Because I have defended that team's belt. He has never defended that team's belt. And so let's see if we can run the gamut in this tournament and get a position. And wouldn't the world shake to its core to have me and JT versus Snyder and Andreyko? Holy Mary Mother of God.
Ooh.
We'd have to hold that in a 5,000-seat stadium, a 10,000
MSG, baby. MSG will sell out Madison Square Garden. Let's do it.
Old school. Because if anybody can get inside Jeff Snyder's head, it's JT. He carried that team
That's
for years.
for sure.
So I would love it. So, yeah, that's your answer there, John.
Hey, anything that takes down Snyder is a A+ for me. 2 thumbs all the way up.
He's back, guys. He's back.
I'm back.
John, we got Streamlab.
We sure did, from Aisha, Kenya. This is because you guys are awesome, and because Roca gave my daughter a shout-out. That was a really lovely moment as well, dedicating that win to Aisha's daughter, and then to someone else as well, if I'm not mistaken. Who was the other?
Where's the North go?
It was Justine from Schmoedown, Schmoedown of the North, another show that does another after show. Her fiance is a fan of mine, but she's apparently a massive fan of mine. And we had a fun conversation a few weeks ago, and I told her that if I won, I would dedicate the match to her as well. So got to give her a shout out there at the end.
And before we bring in the illustrious members of the Outlaw Nation to ask you a question, sir, Chris Taylor put this beautiful image in my mind. Roca riding a horse into Madison Square Garden. That is the image in my mind that I need. Please, people, make that happen. Put it on New York City Comic-Con 2022. Roca rides a beautiful steed, Shadowfax, the Lord of all horses, into MSG. So without further ado, let's bring in some members of the Outlaw Nation Discord questions. See that, folks? That's called a swerve. That's called a professional swerve. And we have some text questions first. So, Soul, take us away. The librarian, read us through the little, what do they call that? The Dewey Decimal System of the Outlaw Nation.
Okay, so we have Chris Taylor over here going, where do you see the movie Trivia Schmoedown in 5 years? Also, enjoy Fitzmagic.
Yep, gonna love having Fitzmagic on the Washington football team. And we just picked up Chris Humphrey, so we got ourselves some receivers finally. Here's what I say: 5 years from now, I think depending on how the young new players this year embrace the embrace the tenets of the Schmoedown, which is character work, heel, face, promos, and gameplay, which a lot of them have already been embracing, especially on the Finstock exchange. then I think this league is going to be even bigger than it is now. And yes, Madison Square Garden, yes, the stadiums with 10 to 15,000, 20,000 people, it is possible, absolutely possible, as an entertainment attraction. So yes, I see it, and I'll be commissioner of the effing league in 5 years, that's for sure.
Heard it here first. Heard it here first.
Oh yeah. I'm going to buy the league. What are you talking about? One day I'm going to buy it.
Who owns Liverpool? You and the guys the Liverpool owners group. You guys just come on in and swoop them up.
Yeah, me and FSG, yeah.
The Fenway Group, owner of the Red Sox Fenway Group.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, the FSG. Bring in LeBron.
Right, bring in LeBron. He is part owner. And then we have from Ambling Soul. How many hats can you wear in one match?
Well, I have the cowboy hat, and maybe one day I'll wear one for each round. I think that's a great idea, actually. I've never thought of that, so that would be brilliant. Maybe for a future match, I'll try that out and see how it plays.
Ambling Soul always coming in with the funny questions. I would love to see that. So let's bring these patrons in.
Boom. And the first one coming in hot. Aaron. Busting up in here. Let's go. Saturday night, Outlaw Nation. On baby duty, too. What is up?
Say hi, buddy. Say hi, Outlaw World.
Hi, Christian.
Hi. I got off work early today, so I can give Mama, time away from baby and just relax. Also, so I can talk to the Roca and get my old hat back out, resurrect this old hat. But you know what? I told you didn't need to resurrect yourself, sir. I told you had that mask. If you did it. Can I curse on here this show?
Go ahead, go.
You did it so goddamn fucking beautifully, sir. Man, I just wanted to do so many you were amazing in it. And just like I said, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Here, mommy.
You scared him.
The outlaw spirit is kidding in me. Just like I said, Kaiser was great with Merle. We all know Roxy is great with Schneider. That's probably the only person she's good with. But you and Gucci are perfect for each other. I don't even care if you didn't stuck with rom-coms, because that is romantic comedy right there, sir. Beautiful match. One question for you, sir, is if you had to choose, who would you like to take on next from the usual suspects? Just to shut Sam up again.
Ethan Irwin, no doubt. Not even a question. Ethan Irwin. Because never beaten him, and I was one question away from beating him last time. I know I can beat him now. With the backing I've got of the Outlaw Nation patrons, with the Finstock Exchange crew behind me, I think I'd be even, if I can even say that, I'd be even more prepared to take on Ethan Irwin. And so I would love that challenge down the road for sure, and finally hang a W, or hang an L rather, on him. That would be fantastic. So yeah.
Because we all know you can do it.
Yep.
We all know you can do it. And you know what? The hell with Sam Levine, because you fuck with Karma's going to come right back. And he's been holding that heat leash shit over you for years. Karma just came up, man. Better watch what you say.
Boom. Yep. Aaron, Karma's a bitch. Thanks so much, bruh. And they all know it now. Thanks, brother. We'll see you on the next one. Bring them on through. We got the next member of the Outlaw Nation. It's Drunken Prayer. Let's go. What is up? The hats are out tonight.
That's all right. They've all gone.
They sell those around you, bro? Where'd you get that hat?
Cowboy and Indians party for my cousin's birthday years ago.
They do that in the UK?
Yeah.
Bugs is like news to me.
Oh, God damn it. Well, I haven't kind of hyped you up enough there. I don't feel like I've got a lot to add now. My question was going to be, apart from Dan and Bateman, who's got the biggest target on their back now that the Outlaw's back? But you've kind of answered that with Ethan.
Who's got the biggest target? That's the target. Whoever has the belt, that's the target. Adam Collins, motherfucker, hung a TKO on me, and I haven't been able to sleep right since. I get only 5 hours a night now because I wake up from the nightmares of getting a TKO to Adam Collins. So I want to take on Adam Collins for sure. If he's got the belt, if I can crawl, scratch, fight, and bully my way into a title shot, I'd love it to be against Adam Collins and hang a TKO on that kid and get my belt back. That's for damn sure.
You do it, man. We'll train you up to the KO. Forget the TKO, man. You're going for the KO.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Drunken, thanks so much for hanging out, brother. We'll see
Thanks,
you.
man.
Hey, man. See you in the,
Yes, sir, guys.
the Discord.
Bye,
That's where the
Chris.
cool kids hang out. Make sure y'all are hanging out in the Outlaw Nation Discord. We're in there all the time, talking all sorts of stuff.
Good time.
Ain't nobody else that you want to talk about in this nation except Brennan Nation. Bring Brennan on right now. Let us know what he has. That's my man. What's up?
Roca, yet again, more congratulations.
Thank you, Brennan.
Yesterday's match was so amazing. You
Was.
did so well, and I was glad to, very glad to be a part of training you for that match.
Thank you. You guys were incredible. So many hours were spent by the Outlaw Nation patrons, getting me ready, getting me folks, getting me chained up, getting the knowledge inside me. I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much, Brennan.
You are
a huge
worth
part of
every
it.
minute. You are worth every second of it. And Cullen,
Thank you, bud.
we'll
Very
have
nice
a
of you.
rematch soon. And I'm taking you down next time we meet.
Of course, sir.
Yeah.
Time will
But-
not be what separates us next
But I
time.
would
It will
never-
be your wrong answers next time.
Yes. But I will
Ooh.
never take the Outlaw down.
That's right. That's right.
So, Roca, is there a category that's not on the wheel or not in the Schmoedown that you would like to be in the Schmoedown?
Ooh, great question. Well, look, I know I want to say this correctly, and I want to say this with respect as possible. I think it's fantastic that there have been a lot of people behind the scenes pushing for more black movies and black cinema and having black categories be a part of it. But Latin cinema is not Jennifer Lopez and Banderas and Inarito and Cuarón alone.
Yes.
There is a lot of other Latin cinema that has come out in this country. I think that needs to be respected as
You are
well.
absolutely right.
So, yeah, so some point down the road, I think Latin cinema needs to be a part of this equation. Also because, do your research, Latinos comprise 35 to 40% of the repeat business in movie theaters every year. 35 to 40%. That's an audience that must be addressed, and by the Schmoedown, I hope it's addressed in the next year. It would be fantastic to unveil a Latino cinema slice and put some of the people who were clamoring to have us on the wheel back on their heels about it as well.
Yep, we got enough white cinema already.
And you know that I'll train you up well on Latino cinema,
Oh, yes.
so we're good.
All right, well,
Boom.
thank you, Roca. You are amazing.
Brennan, thank you so much, buddy, for hanging
Thank you,
out.
sir.
Of
You
course,
are
I
amazing
will
right
see
back.
you next time for another trivia bout. There's no one I love going up more against
Oh, yeah.
you.
All right.
See you next
Yep.
time.
See you there.
And Producer
Brennan.
Sean, I hear we have one more person that squeaked in just at the last second.
Oh, shit.
Justin, bring him on in. Has a question for the
Hi.
Outlaw. What is up, bud? How's it going?
What's up,
Hey
Justin?
guys, how you doing?
Good.
Hey.
Hey John, hope you're driving safe.
What's up, brother, man?
I'm
I'm
good.
trying to get the right
Uh,
angle here. So,
Yeah, it was.
All right.
It was a lot of fun watching the match last night. You know, it was like we're all in the Discord watching together, rooting for you. You know, it's like it was exciting, and you know, getting to enjoy the victory, and all of us were so proud. You know, with all the work that you put in, and you know, knowing that we did everything we could to help you prepare for this victory. So it was exciting. So
definitely.
really happy
Thank
for you. So
Well, thank you, man. I
my
appreciate
question-
that. You were a huge part of it.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, with the upcoming teams tournament,
Yeah.
is there any team that you're really concerned about, or are you and JT confident that you can take out everybody in this upcoming tournament?
Yeah, this is an interesting year, man. I mean, I've come into this year with a feeling like I can't be scared or intimidated to play anybody. Can't be focusing on the next match ahead. Got to focus on the next match in front of you, and that's my mentality. So there's no team that's out there that scares me. There's no team out there that makes me worried. All I want to do is get in the yard and play, and that's what's important to me. So. Yeah, no, I'm not wasting any time getting scared or getting worried and intimidated. What I need to do is get prepared. That's the number one thing I need to do, is to be prepared no matter who the team is. And that's the focus now this year, definitely.
Yeah, and everyone here at the Outlaw Nation, we got your back, of course. And we're going to keep on helping every step of the way. So I totally believe that. It's like, I think people are going to let them sleep on you and JTE and just watch them fall. I mean, like, Kalinowski was getting all uppity on Twitter about your team name. It's like, I look forward to you making KO eat his words.
Oh, absolutely. And nothing, I texted that picture to JT, and he was laughing his nuts off. He's like, who is this clown? I defended the belt for over a year. Who is this clown? And so it was brilliant. And I love it, and that's the truth. Kalinowski is my friend for sure outside the Schmoedown. Inside the Schmoedown, it's competitors. And so JT, that reaction from JT is just beautiful. That just lets me know, man, all you got to do is give us fuel. The worst thing you can do is give us fuel, because that just motivates champions even more to show up and win. And so, we've seen Kalinowski, when he doesn't play the Founding Fathers, how much he chokes in first rounds. So now he's got to play JT, a guy who's going to get under his skin. I'll be curious to see how this match turns out if we play them. It'll be a lot of fun for sure.
We saw what happened when Corruption went up against Shazam. It's like
it don't work out well for that. It don't work out. No. But Justin, thanks so much, bud, for coming on in. We appreciate your questions.
Yep.
Come on back next week. Outlaw, man, I gotta throw it over to you. This is your time. This is your channel. You got a couple of minutes. There ain't no better time for somebody to talk smack than when they're driving through LA traffic. So please, sir, take a minute and tell the Schmoedown why nobody should be fucking with you.
Yeah, listen, those days of the jokes of the old man and the dinosaur, I told everybody before the whole thing started that those jokes, those days are over. I am a completely different player this year, a lot more trained, a lot more focused. I understand what needs to be done. I'm more selfish about how I want things to go, and I've got an incredible faction behind me in the Finstock Exchange. I've got an incredible nation behind me in the Outlaw Nation. We now understand how to get me ready for a game. So I'm looking forward to it. And the one thing that you're missing is I did all of this. I've won 4 belts in my career without having this kind of help, this level of help. Think about what's going to happen now that I do have this level of help. Everyone should be afraid about it. Everyone should be worried about it. All the weaknesses that you thought I had, I'm not going to have them anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get it on. Come get some. Come bring it. Because to be the man, you got to beat the man. And in this fucking league, as Winston A. Marshall texted me like last night, I am the Schmoedown. So when you're ready, come get some. Don't sing it, bitches. Bring it. That's it.
You are the Schmoedown, and this is the ultimate Schmoedown after. Yes.
Yeah.
This is what we come for. Sir, thank you so much for hanging out. This is your temple. This is your home. Thank you so much for letting us, put house up for one day a week. We appreciate it. We're going to keep on doing this to the best of our abilities. And as long as you keep giving it your 100, we're going to keep giving it our 100, sir. We appreciate you 100%. We will hopefully, anytime you want to come on again, you know where to find us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are incredible. Of course, and look, I'm very happy how the show has blown up since it's come to the channel and how many people are watching and respecting it and appreciating how good the show is. Shout out to Mike Shea and to Sean Barreto and to all of you for all the work you do to make this show great. and I'm very proud to have it on the channel, and I was proud to be on today. So best of luck as you guys keep going forward, and keep it to 2 hours. Jesus Christ! All right, that's it. That's all I got. Much love to everybody.
We promised when
We're back. We're
and
back.
Roca can hear
We're
this
back.
later. We promised to keep a match. We promised to keep an episode under the length of the pay-per-view. If there are 5 matches, we promise to keep it under the length of the pay-per-view. If it goes over 3 hours, we can go over 2.5. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Stuff just keeps going. I think you know what we need to do? We need to say bye to John Barr because he's a busy, pretty boy, and I love him very much. And I know he's had a busy day and he's got a busier night coming up. So please, sir, say them pretty old adieus.
How's that? Is that pretty? Was that pretty? You can follow me on the places that are listed below. Twitch.tv/John Barr. Hey, if you live in California, specifically Echo Park, let's try and get Mitch O'Farrell out of his council seat. Why don't we do that? Because he's a bad boy. Not like these 2 good boys up here, and then Soul, who's truly just the best of the best. Thank you so much for putting up with me. Unfortunately, well, judges, guys, have a lovely rest of your night. I'll see you next week. And don't you worry about picks. I texted those to the producers behind the scenes, so everyone will know that I'm also going to get perfect, just like I did this week with my picks. All right, bye.
Yep, and speaking of picks, that's what we're going to roll into. Thankfully, oh my god, and I don't mean thankfully because let me not say I don't appreciate 5 Schmoedown matches, but folks, it has been one long week. We can't, these 5 matches, you can't do 3 weeks in a row, guys. This is Aisha. Yes, John does have a perfectly shaped head. It's truly beautiful how it works that way.
I was thinking that whole show.
The whole show. You can't help but think it.
Wait,
but
should we get Sean on?
Let's do it. Let's bring him on in because we got picks. So let's go ahead. Producer Sean, come on in. We got the picks. Oh, he's got the hat. What's going on here? But
everybody else is wearing hats. I'm wearing a hat.
Quick recap.
It's been working for me.
Quick recap. Colin sucks. He has 9 points. Boggs is awesome. He has 14 points. Sean also has 14 points. John has 13 points. And Soul has 10 points. So
wait,
Soul,
is it me and
you and Sean are in the lead?
Okay.
Yes.
I told you I would rectify not being in last place, and I'm not in last place. That is single-handedly
10 matches.
held
I got 9
by
right.
Colin.
9 right.
Okay, so if I wouldn't have swerved, I would have gone perfect. But Colin, just trust your gut next time. I'm going to just run through these picks. And match number 1, we got Paige for Brady versus Peggy Gubbins. This is just, we got rookies coming in on rookies. Boggs, I'm going to throw it over to you, bud. What you got?
So I'm saying Peggy because she's in the chat. No, but really, no, I am generally going for Peggy. You know, more experience, fun league matches. You know, she's got a good way about her, good energy. I'm going Peggy.
I'm picking Peggy. Just go ahead and throw it in. Sean, throw it over to you.
I'm picking Peggy not just because she's in the chat, because I think she's going to be a rising star in this league. So I think Peggy's going to come out the gates firing. So I pick Peggy.
John Barr picked Paige. Soul, how about you?
I'm also picking Peggy. She's the best.
John Barr is the swerver in that match, and we bring it on over to Inner Geekdom as 2 competitors seemingly try to decide what division are they really great at. We don't know. Is it Inner Geekdom, singles, or Star Wars? We got Alex Damon and the Barbarian. What do we got going on here, Soul?
I am going with the Barbarian. No way that he's put so much effort into the movie True Schmoedown this year to not get the W.
And Sean?
I'm also picking the Barbarian, a friend of the show. We will have him on at some point. And don't worry, Barbarian, if you come on, you don't have to drink. So I'm just putting that out there right now.
Yeah, that was just a one-night thing, man. Don't ever
it's happened. It's been happening before that. Since then. Yeah.
Bro, look, man, that was a long night. I don't ever need to see another human being do that again. Please don't ever. I'll pay you not to drink. Boggs, I'll pay you to pick this match.
Yeah, if
Venmo
you want to put a $5 super chat, then that'll be fine.
Yeah, Venmo or Cash App, you choose.
I told you I do. I do what they call cameo stuff. Is that what it is? Yeah. Anyway,
please,
yes,
Boggs, take a second. Cut a cameo for the fans.
I'll do it. Yeah, the next $50 super chat, I'll do it. But no, you have to go Barbarian. Really, I mean, it's hard to go for Alex in IG. Oh, you know, we saw his gaps last year, so it's really hard to go for Alex. So I will go for Barbarian. Seems to be better rounded in IG. So.
John Barr seems to be agreeing with everyone here, picking the Barbarian, but Colin is gonna ride.
Alex Damon till he dies, until he decides to not compete in the Inner Geekdom. I will not pick against him because I believe that his ceiling is higher than anyone else's because of his retention ability. I do not come at this as like someone knows more than anybody else. If he wants to sit down and learn those IG movies, then damn it, Alex Damon will do it. And until he tells me he doesn't want to, I'll stop picking him. Brings us on to, how is this not a pay-per-view? I need to talk to people at Skybound Media. This should be a pay-per-view. I would pay $10 for this match because when you talk about rematches of last year, this is the first rematch of the year. In terms of huge matches, we got Shazam versus Final Exam. These are powerhouses. Sean, I throw it to you, the mitochondria of this show.
This was a tough pick. Been debating this whole time. I think I'm going to go Final Exam.
Soul, did you fill in the Scantron all the way, or are you a 12-year-old boy named Billy Batson?
Swag, drip, drip, Final Exam.
You know, we come in for them chips, I believe, is how that sentence is finished. Boggs, how was your sentence finished?
So I think Sean's right. It's really hard. I will say I can't imagine Bib losing twice back to back like that. So that's why I'm going for Shazam. But obviously Paul's on fire, so it's tough. I could change my mind tomorrow, but for now I'll go Shazam.
John Barr came out and said Final Exam. I will say Shazam! And that, folks, is the end of the pick section. And that will do it for another illustrious episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show. I bet you folks cannot wait for next week. We got 3 matches. Who knows? We might even play trivia again. We might come back better than ever. Who knows? Hope you enjoyed it this week. At VideoDrew, we had the powder keg, Paul Preston. Got the Outlaw himself. He runs this whole dang network. The only reason any of us are here is because of this guy. How great is that? Coming on in, making time for us. The little guys, the schmoes, if you will. Soul, I will throw it over to you as we end this show. Where can the fine folks of the interwebs find you? And please point them to an episode of a podcast that we filmed this week.
Yes, you can find me at SoulGovan on Twitter, and you can find me and Colin talking about Saga over at the Media Studies Network for Soul Talk. It comes out every Wednesday. Go check that out.
Yeah, she's talking about me. It was awesome. Talk about Saga. If you haven't read Saga, read it. It's the best. Boggs, where can they find you, bud? We're going to talk some Star Wars this week, but they haven't given us any Wars of the Stars to talk about.
Yeah, a bit dry on the Star Wars front, isn't it? I think it's more Marvel and
drier
DC
than blue milk. There's no blue milk coming out of that.
They're up front at the minute, but yeah. But no, just catch us here really every Saturdays. Also catch us on the Pop Culture Universe. I think in the last couple of weeks we dropped Coming to America 2 review, we dropped Falcon Winter Soldier review, we dropped Justice League review. So yeah, anything kind of pop culture wise, review, reactions, ratings, predictions, all that good stuff. Check us out over there. That's the Pop Culture Universe. Pop Culture Universe, just Pop Culture Universe. Well, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate the super chat, Streamlabs. The guests have been great. We're doing this thing every week now, so we're going to keep it rolling. Thanks everyone for coming. Please like the video, comment, all that good stuff.
Everybody hang out in the chat. We love y'all. You can find me, of course, down where the names things say below at @the_Seymours. But we really want y'all be contributing up here. Streamlabs / The Ultimate Schmoedown Show. Let's get in there. Outlaw Nation. Come on, y'all. We're up in there. Patrons, if you want, you can watch us. You can watch Geek Buddies, the shows that matter. You don't need to be watching these other shows. You need to become joining the conversation with us. That's the important stuff. We are having great conversations on the Discord. Everyone's having a great time. If you love Brennan, if you love Tushka, a 50, all these folks coming in here, just come hang out. Ryko, everybody hanging out. Come on down, the Outlaw Nation. We are open for business. Borders are open at the Outlaw Nation, for lack of a better word. And that will do it for this episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show. And yes, also every Saturday on the Get Schmoedown Network with 50, you can find Soul. And maybe next month you can find Soul and I coming to you from the same location. That's called a tease, folks. And this is the ending of this episode. We will see you next week as we break down some crazy more matches. Can't wait. We'll see you next time. Bye.